Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Lone Star State 250 here at the old defunct version of the Texas Motor Speedway here for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series on the Elite Racing Network. My name is David Westergreen. Tonight I am joined by David Huckleberry, our producer, as always, but Zach Evans is going to have to step aside tonight, feeling a little under the weather. We've brought in some backup and out of the car for tonight's race. It will be South Shore Racing driver Ty McIntosh. And Ty, first of all, congratulations on your first Belly Up Sports Cup Series broadcast. But second of all, are you ready to talk about some Texas Motor Speedway? Because it seems like this car tonight is going to be a handful around this mile-and-a-half track.
Absolutely, and I think it looks like a handful from what we've seen in practice. Qualifying is getting wrapped up. These guys are going to have a lot of trouble with primarily exit of the corners, looking like turn 2 is going to be an issue with what we've seen. It's very windy, so the crosswind in 4 is going to be a problem. These guys have their hands full, and I think if there's a place for me to avoid talking to you guys to the infield care center, it would have to be this one. So
And we'll take it as long as no other drivers are appearing from various dimensions to take you out of the race. It's probably the safest place for you up here in the booth. So with that, qualifying wraps up. We will send a couple of drivers home. 45 showed up to qualify tonight. Man, we had a bunch of guys not set a qualifying grid a lap, but I believe that was because they wrecked in qualifying, trying to take a time and struggling with the handle of their race car. I believe our 4-day raceware pole award winner is going to be a familiar name, Matthew Weeks, on pole here for the Lone Star State 250 for that 4D raceware pole award. Trey Eidson will start to his outside after a strong run last week. Jared Rexing will start third for Do Good Motorsports. He'll be flanked by Jesse Racimus with a very good qualifying run in P4. Tyler Popp will start from P5, making the race as an open car in his return. Gavin Hibbs up there second in points will start P6. Daniel Falkingham, the points leader, will go from P7 tonight. Certainly a favorite to win this race. Chad Frankenfield will start alongside him in 8th. Scott Crump will start 9th for Lake Norman Motorsports, and Ethan Stanley will roll from 10th. 11th will be two-time defending champion Blake Reynolds. Ryan Borges makes his return after suspension. He'll start 12th.
13th for Pro Edge Racing's Trey Holmes and number 23. Garrison Hogan, his outside in the Channel 199 number 55 Toyota. 16th is going to be Andrew Rucker in the Stanley 64 machine with Justin Vandermeer for Fueled Up starting 16th. Row number 9, Jonathan Cutlip for Fueled Up Racing in that number 5 Chevrolet alongside Cale Pocock and Corey Abbott Motorsports 00 Toyota. Seth Rawls 19th in the Shifty Sports Ford with Nate Stewart and I believe the Fueled Up 67. Gerald Campbell for Do Good Motorsports in the number 31 Chevrolet. Ryan Schold for Little Eagle Racing in the Ford camp. Michael Hosick 23rd, and Hunter Smith in that number 51 Little Eagle Racing Ford will round out the top 24.
Paul Mikolajczyk will start 25th. Alongside him will be Gavin Higgins in 26th. Daniel Gore will start 27th for South Shore Racing. He'll be flanked by his best buddy, Josh Adams, in 28th. Ray Bracey will start 29th, and Michael Goodman will roll from 30th tonight. 31st will be Jaden Racimus in the Abbott Motorsports number 1 entry. He will be flanked by Mark Rebelos, who makes this race as an open car in 32nd. Dusty Dewar will start 33rd, and to his outside will be Johnny Thomas in 34th. It'll be Carlos Acosta and Nigel Stock, 35th and 36th. And I believe 37th will be Kurt Gibson. I think Gibson might miss this race. I think actually it was going to be Gibson and Nigel Stock that are going to miss this one. Corey Abbott here in 39th, Harrison Talon in 40. A ton of names back here, though, that did not set qualifying times. Ethan Burrell, Josh Chin, neither of them were able to get a time down. They'll be coming way in the back from the back of the field. Ryan Gable, Frank Fody as well for Lake Norman Motorsports. They'll roll from 43rd and 44th, respectively. And rounding out the field will be Gilberto Javier Gomera for the Shifty Sports entry in 45th. That'll set our field for tonight's race. We will run 167 laps here on this old Legacy Texas surface. Matthew Weeks on the pole there alongside Trey Eidson. Our stage break will be lap 60. You'll see that at the top right of the pylon. And I'm sure these guys are going to need a pit right around that 60 lap mark, Ty. It's going to be a chaotic race indeed if they are not able to stay green.
Absolutely, and I think with everything we've seen in practice, all signs point to some struggles, but if anybody's going to get it done, it's going to be these Cup guys as the pace car is in this time.
Matthew Weeks brings us into that restart zone, and we are racing here at the Lone Star State 250. Weeks on the loud pedal. Trey Eidson alongside him. They're going to roar off into turn one. I think that inside line is going to be the preferred line early, and yes, indeed, the outside line washes up a little bit. There's some bumps in this Texas surface that make that outside line a bit of a struggle. We're seeing it already. Matthew Weeks surges ahead to the race lead. Here comes Daniel Falkingham to the inside of Tyler Popp for third on the opening lap from 7th up to 4th and looking for more.
The full advantage of that inside being a little bit smoother on the start there, already up to 4th. Tyler Popp still working the outside, has a little bit of faith in it. He's actually going to take that right out of my mouth and put it right back to the bottom and get single file. But here comes Jesse Racibas with a huge run out of turn 2. He's going to be up to the 6th spot.
Oh, car bouncing it off the wall. I think that was Jonathan Cutlip that got a piece of it back in the field. Early on, though, only a couple of cars trying that outside line. One of those is Jared Rexing looking for the race lead. Chad Frankenfield is also on that outside lane. It's not working right now, though. Rexing fell back. Frankenfield falls back. Matthew Weeks sets the fastest lap of the race. Ethan Stanley's working that outside line.
Yeah, he and Blake Reynolds. Oh, Blake Reynolds with a big wiggle off of 2 already off that middle groove. But Ethan Stanley was all the way on the wall. He's going to make it work. I think he made 4 or 5 passes right there on that lap already.
Hunter Smith off the pace, dropping back in the 51. Think he got a piece of the wall. And he will fall back, but we will stay under the green flag, though these guys have already struggled with the handle on their race cars. That outside line looks to be fast early in the run here, but Ty, you have a lot more experience in this next-gen car, having raced a lot more of these races than I have. And from what we've seen in the booth, that outside line is a really good way to make up some early track position, but it's also a really good way to lose it if we go green for a really long time. And your tires kind of melt off when you run that outside line.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the big things I heard was right rear tire wear, and I saw it when I was watching Daniel run some laps and everything he was experiencing. That top side might feel great right now, but with how also just unknown of what this next-gen car is going to do, with how snappy it is, I don't think it's a favorable thing to do for more than 2 or 3 laps to try to get track position before you burn the right rear off.
Yeah, and Ethan Stanley's been trapped up there for a couple of laps now as he is still working the very far outside lane, trying to make it work. He's passed a bunch of cars as Ethan Stanley rocketed up from 10th starting spot up into the top 5 now, into 5th spot as he goes around Daniel Falkingham. But I mean, to our understanding, right, Ethan Stanley's going to struggle with the tire wear once this race starts to take on a green flag complexion. It hasn't happened a lot this season. We've had a lot of races kind of have some green flag runs as Jaden Racibas got loose coming off of 2, but not a whole lot has resulted. We've had those early cautions in the lap 20 to 30 range, just about every single one of these mile-and-a-half track races. That feels like it's going to be the case again here tonight, as there is a battle for second between Tyler Popp and Jared Rexing.
Jared has not gone away from that outside wall. I see Ethan Stanley, even in the dirty air, going to follow him through that. Part of me wonders if this is Jared kind of scheming for late race, or if this is him just trying to throw some caution to the wind. But you see here, as we ride on board with him, he is all the way up on the outside wall. One of the only 2 people doing that, as Ethan is right behind him, even in dirty air, which is kind of impressive in that regard. But making it work right now, able to keep it, getting a good run on Matthew Weeks out of these corners and trying to stay close to car number 11.
You can see there's a big bump in the outside lane. You just saw Jared Rexing drive over it. And that's, I think, the caution's out. Ethan Stanley is the car around. He is going to avoid taking a ton of damage, but that car did get out from under the driver of the 91 in the center of turn 1 and 2. I think it was right in your trouble spot there, Zach, where he just got loose on the corner exit when he put the throttle down.
Yeah. And so watching the practice laps earlier, there's a bump in the center of 1 and 2, and it's kind of weird. It's even on the bottom, so we're going to see everybody hit that no matter what lane they're in. But you kind of have to be out of the throttle, wait till you hit it, and the car settles, and then throttle back up, which I'm sure that kind of caught Ethan. We ride on board with him here. Yeah, there's that bump, and it automatically unsettles that thing. It disconnects the rear from the ground, and around he goes.
It almost looked like exactly what happened. And yeah, if you've run this legacy Texas track, you feel that bump in the car. And then we think back to that Bristol dirt race in these next gen cars. These cars bounce up and down a ton. I also think, well, to the Coke 600, where that infield bump coming off pit road caught some guys out. So certainly caught out Ethan Stanley. Again, one of the most talented drivers in this field. And if he's bouncing off that bump in turn one and spinning out, I mean, a lot of these guys are going to, I think, struggle with that as we continue to race. Matthew Weeks has led every single one of our laps thus far. Pit road is open. Not a whole lot of takers. We will go to our first commercial break of the night. We'll return for the restart. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Enjoy Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at WWTRaceway.com.
This is Bobby Bolin from Tom Bolin Ford, and I have huge news for you. Right now, we are offering interest rates as low as 3.99 on most of our used cars. That's right, 3.99 happening right now. And it gets even better. These used vehicles come with the Bolin Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, giving you protection for the long haul. This is your chance to save big with incredible rates and shop our wide variety of trucks, vans, SUVs, and cars. Only at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Welcome back to the Lone Star State 250. We are about to go back to Green Flag Racing. Matthew Weeks is the race leader. He's led every one of our 11 laps thus far. Jared Rexing is to his outside on this restart. Tyler Popp will restart third. Daniel Falkingham fourth. Gavin Hibbs fifth. Didn't have a ton of takers to pit road. This time, pace car down pit road, and Matthew Weeks gets into the restart zone and gets a fantastic start. He will get a huge jump on Jared Rexing and Tyler Popp, who will go side by side into turn one. That outside lane struggled on the opening start of the race, and that to get going up there right now, they're not struggling so much. Daniel Falkingham able to make it work, looking 3 wide underneath Jared Rexing.
A little further back, we got a lot of 3 wide, but Daniel Falkingham not able to really get anything to stick on the outside of Tyler Popp. They single file out there, but Jared Rexing right back to the wall. I was curious to see how the tires having a heat cycle in them now with this restart, how they're going to hold up, and he seems to be doing just fine.
Fine for now. It's a matter of that 20 lap, 30 lap ish point in the race. With a chance to cool those tires down, they should have 10 or 20 more laps in them. I mean, we saw Rexing last week leading the race and it got out from under him. So I'm hoping he's able to keep the tires on it this week. Blake Reynolds is up there at the wall as well, though. I mean, that's a guy that's really, really good at the long run pace, but he's trying out that outside line. Big bump draft to Ryan Borges down this front straightaway. Into turn one they go through the bumps. Single filed out except for that battle between Rexing and Falkingham up at the front, and then Jonathan Cutlip and Seth Rawls to the back of your screen.
Ooh, got a battle for the 4th spot. Gavin Hibbs looking underneath Jared Rexing. Going to make Rexing run right back to the top. The run for Gavin Hibbs down the bottom of the corner as we see Michael Goodman with a meatball is going to be enough to get him clear. Jared's still going to stick to the top side. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that
right front.
Right front broke on the Michael Goodman machine. I'm sure he got a little tail happy, slapped the wall right front first in turn 2. That would seem to be the way that damage is pointing. As Matthew Weeks under fire for the race lead, Tyler Popp works to that middle lane. looking to try to grab the lead from Matthew Weeks.
lost
Oh, Pop loses it. Spins into Falkingham. Up the track he goes. Tyler Pop going to wipe it out right in front of the field. Everybody trying to avoid. Gavin Higgins around. Gore and Cutlip crash onto the apron. Everybody else managing to woe it up. Meatball flag for Chad Frankenfield. He's going to get collected in this. Oh, Tyler Pop immediately onto the apology train. Frustrated for sure. I mean, that was basically the first time all race Tyler Pop avoided the bottom of the racetrack and it immediately stepped out on him.
Falkenham getting a piece. Hibbs able to miss it. Frankenfield not.
That's where the meatball flag came from right there. We're going to need to go on board with a few different people here. Gavin Higgins got spun out in this. Gore and Cutlip came together. They spin towards pit road. I don't know if they hit the pit wall. If they did, that's going to be further damage on both of those race cars. On board with your teammate here. Oh, man.
Cutlip lost it.
He was already out of shape there, and he got a piece of Gavin Higgins. I think Gore's going to be okay. Cutlip gets a piece of the pit wall.
So
right.
Two different incidents, which is weird. But it looked like, did Cutlip just surface his car while he was already down there?
he just went to pit road. He was like, all right, we're going. Man, his might have even been a separate incident. We might have had a different wreck of Cutlip.
Yeah.
It might have just been a different wreck.
Because I don't think he was able to see it. If he was, it's
on board with Seth Rawls. He's going to have to clear through both wrecks.
I think Cutlip was a completely different. Yeah, Cutlip had to been a completely different accident.
He might have grabbed the brake. Is what I'm wondering. Did he grab the brake when he sees the smoke from Pop's car? Oh, yeah, hit too far a little bit. Does he grab the brake and get the too much rear brake spin? Like, I don't think so. There's no smoke yet.
It was maybe around the same time, like the spot that Pop started getting sideways, maybe the same bump. They were running really about the same line, which makes me wonder, but it's still odd. I think Pop was fighting it at that point, but then you see Cutlip he's already here. He might as well.
Might as well. Can we jump on board with, I think Justin Vandermarl is going to have a really good vantage point of this, and then we'll go back to green flag racing here as we are 1 to green. But I think just a quick shot of Vandermarl zipping through this wreck is probably a good one. It's the 54. He's running 9th right now by my count. But he snaked right through this. Then we'll jump back to live here. Ton of good onboards, I think, but we'll get this one. Tyler Pop wrecks. He's sitting sideways in the middle of the track. Almost comes down into him. A lot of guys. None of these guys pitted, by the way. Just about, yeah. All of these guys are still on the racetrack. Went through the grass. Maybe that cooled off their tires. Who knows? Pace car about ready to hit pit road after the wreck involving several top 5 cars there in Frankenfield and Pop. New running order is Matthew Weeks the leader, Falkingham 2nd, Hibbs 3rd, Scott Crump into 4th, Ryan Borges into 5th. Green flag is back out. Matthew Weeks with another excellent jump. Gavin Hibbs also was able to grab a really good jump and get back going in that 95 car. He's going to have that preferred line on Daniel Falkingham into turn 1. Falkingham tries to crowd the 95 as championship contender, but the gold and black car works up the racetrack. They're still side by side for 2nd off 2.
Daniel Falkingham able to make the top side work. Gavin Hibbs going to back off on corner entry, maybe let Falkingham have it. And he's going to put the pressure on Matthew Weeks now for the race lead. Weeks out of 4. It's going to lead this lap, but Falkingham's got a pretty good run, trying to grab that right rear quarter panel.
Falkingham, obviously a little bit of damage in that incident, but testing that car out a little bit just to see if it's all good. It certainly looks to be fine, and he had a very strong run going last week, even after getting caught up in the incident with Jared Rexing on the back straightaway at Richmond. He still had a really good shot at winning that race if that thing had gone green. Unfortunately for him, it did not. Wound up with a more mediocre finish than we've seen out of Daniel Falkingham this season. Right now, running 2nd, certainly has a strong shot to win this thing as he rides in behind Matthew Weeks, who's still setting fast laps. That 11 car is going to be strong here tonight. Oh, this is dangerous.
Yeah, we got a side-by-side between Scott Crump and Ryan Borges, and I'm honestly surprised that as many people are running that outside lane still. I know that it's not really an option for these guys that have to pass, but with the struggles we've already seen guys like Ethan Stanley have, and then Jonathan Cutlip having the problem, and Tyler Pop. So we got a battle for the lead. Daniel Falkenham with a crossover on Matthew Weeks. They're going to be side-by-side at the stripe. Weeks is going to have the top. This is the first time he's really ran it.
And Weeks backs out of it there. I don't know that there's much he can do. Matthew Weeks into the outside for the first time. Gavin Hibbs going to try to follow Daniel Falkenham through. Falkenham to the race lead. Weeks back to second. He'll run the high side again, but Gavin Hibbs is going to make his way by. Blake Reynolds going to try to fly by as well.
Just watching Weeks and how uncomfortable he looked on that top side. Every time he would hit the bump, it just looked like he got more and more uncomfortable. So that's definitely going to set him back. He's now under fire for Borges for the 4th spot, so he's going to have to try to get his bearings back under him. I know that wasn't ideal for him. Blake Reynolds might have got loose up there just in front of him. He had a big wiggle down the racetrack.
And Matthew Weeks is definitely not interested in running that top lane right now. He wants to save his tires, conserve, run that bottom groove, and wait for things to cycle out here. That's kind of his preferred game anyway. Single file behind them, back to about Ray Bracey and Justin Vandermarl. That battle for the 8th and 9th spot there. And just behind them, it's a hornet's nest. Scott Crump has fallen back dramatically. I'm not sure what's wrong with the 90, but Crump is fading really quickly. And that's kind of opening the door for a whole lot of new names to enter the top 10 conversation. Obviously, Ray Bracey, Justin Vandermarl, but Ryan Gable's up into the top 10. Nate Stewart working his way there. Gerald Campbell, Andrew Rucker, Ethan Burrell, they're all finding their way further forward.
And Ryan Gable has been on the move since the restart. I saw him peek his nose up underneath what looked like Dustin Dewar.
Would we lose?
Oh. So we got him back.
Good.
We're all good.
Oh,
But,
Josh Adams sideways off 2. Saved it. Did not spin it out, but Josh Adams heading backwards. Similar incident, but he was on the bottom of the racetrack. I think he might have got a piece of the seam to get this car out of shape. Right behind Ethan Burrell, hit the bump and rose up, but that's way further after the bump this time, and Adams was able to hold on to it. Yeah,
That's very, very gripped up there. Which, I mean, it's something we've kind of come to expect with this next gen. If it's not happy, or if you cook the right rear just a little bit too much, even if it's fresh tires, it's not gonna agree with you, and it's gonna snap.
Right now, Daniel Falkenham leads. Blake Reynolds has closed the gap. He's up to the back bumper of that 39, and what is probably our 2 strongest championship contenders here this season are now side by side for the race lead here at Legacy, Texas. And Blake Reynolds flies past Daniel Falkenham for the lead.
When Blake got clear, he did not waste any time trying to get to where he didn't have to deal with that bump that was in the center of the corner, and shot it right back down to the bottom, and that's going to be that battle done and over for now. But I would have to assume that he might end up falling back to Falkenham if he burns his stuff up too much. But they're single file right now for most of the top 10. I think first battle really is going to be between, well, it was Ryan Gable and Gerald Campbell, but that seems to have subsided. You see Michael Hosick, Jared Rexing, Ethan Burrell, they're 3 wide.
Jared Rexing making a couple of passes, Burrell falling back a little bit, and we noted his problems in qualifying. He started 41st. He's up to 18th. The car that, caution's out. I did not see an incident on the track. It looks like it's going to be Hunter Smith, Carlos Acosta, maybe a couple of more cars on the back straightaway. Carlos is going to have a meatball flag. Take a look at what happened here. Oh man, Hunter Smith loose in that same trouble spot that caught Josh Adams, and Smith was not able to gather it up like Josh did.
Oh, yeah. Nowhere for Carlos to go, nowhere for Mark to go.
Anybody else get caught up in it, I guess, or
Looked like Hunter was able to get it down to the bottom before it got too bad.
Carlos was sitting perpendicular on the racetrack, but I didn't really see anybody else wrecked. So I think maybe everybody was able to dodge Carlos back there. You had a couple of guys back there that were trying to nurse along some wounded cars. Gavin Higgins, Jonathan Cutlip, Tyler Pop.
Yeah, I want to say everybody got by just fine. Ooh.
Okay. See what happened. Oh, looks like Dusty got a. Oh, yeah.
no.
Ethan Stanley's also going to get some damage. They came up pretty quick on Dusty Dewar. Whole field's down pit road, by the way. Except for Scott Crump, Jared Rexing, Josh Chin. Yeah, Dusty didn't slow up to the caution. That will result in a caution damage tally, I believe. Caution contact, I think that's the typical call race control uses. Ryan Gable first off pit road.
Kind of curious to see here. I know it was like a weird run, and I would assume that most of these guys are going to want to take 4, but curious to see the Scott Crump call, because we talked about it. He was falling down the order, and he's going to stay out here. He has not pitted. Jared Rexing pitted for 4 on lap 13 with Josh Chen and Paul Mikolajczyk. So a couple guys that have pitted. I'm really surprised that Scott has not taken tires yet at this point.
Right. Looks like Gable might have missed his pit stall. Same for Corey Abbott. We'll see if those two swing back down pit road. Interesting call, yeah, for Scott Crump. He had run the outside lane a couple of times early in that first run. It's like Corey's going to come back down pit road. I think Gable's going to stay out though.
Which
he sure is.
Being a Lake Norman teammate, I wonder if there was a discussion there after Gavel had already pitted. Maybe Gavel was like, well, if you're going to, I might as well. And he's going to like to join his teammate, Mr. Scott Crump.
Certainly possible. So the running order has changed up as Hunter Smith does get the contact causing tally. Dusty Dewar does get an EOL for that caution contact as well. Race leader will now be Scott Crump. He'll pick up a bonus point for leading a lap. Jared Rexing will restart second. Josh Chin will restart third. His teammate Paul Mikolajczyk will restart fourth. Then it'll be Ryan Gable and Ethan Stanley, a couple of guys who elected either fuel only or no tires, or no stop at all there under that last caution. First cars on 4 tires will be 7th, Daniel Falkingham, 8th, Blake Reynolds, 9th, Ryan Borges, 10th, Matthew Weeks. Pace car going to drop in, and we will see what this split strategy does to the field. Last week, it resulted in several of our top contenders getting wrecked and ultimately provided Tate Lytle with an opportunity to win the race. Let's see if Scott Crump can get the same luck this time. Green flag is out. Crump with a very good jump. Rexing was able to kind of match him, though. And Rexing will maybe jump to the outside and try to go around that 90 car.
Going to get really interesting off of 2 here with these guys that have the fresher tires and are able to get a run. Scott Crump's going to pull away by a good bit on Rexing, so it's just going to be Paul Mikolajczyk and Ryan Gavel trying to defend off the fresh tire goers.
Daniel Falkingham has been really strong on the opening laps of runs. That's one of the places he's been so good this season. He's really able to capitalize on that. Rexing to the outside of Crump for the race lead. He will get it at the line. Jared Rexing leads another race here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. Josh Chin rockets to the outside of Crump as well. Ryan Gable through to 4th, trying to continue to block off that 39 car. Falkingham, the car that I'm looking for. Seth Rawls is hard in the wall. No caution is going to wave, but Rawls' car is going to be badly hurt. He is fully sideways. Same incident.
Oh,
Crump's struggling mightily. Yeah, a little bit from Bojo. He was loose before that, but...
Oh, Scott Crump actually not looking too great right now. They are in the hornet's nest.
Yeah, this is a...
Wide.
Paul got a piece of the wall trying to go by. Borges is going to get by. Blake Reynolds still isn't by. Now Blake Reynolds is able to get by Scott Crump. This 90 car falling like a rock right now on those older tires.
And it looked like even on the start there, he pulled away just fine, maybe a little, but then he got to 4, and that's where he had that big moment that allowed Jared Rexing to get by and capitalize on that. This is a curious call for Scott Crump, especially when we're 25 to the stage.
Yeah, I think his assumption is that we'll get another yellow. He'll be able to get an advantage on the tires, even if he loses the track position right now. That may be the idea behind it. Just don't wreck yourself right now. Ryan Gable up there in the wall battling Ethan Stanley. They are currently 4th and 5th. And Stanley's going to take the 4th spot away from Ryan Gable. Gable battling back, though, on that outside lane. Jared Rexing leads. Josh Chin 2nd. Daniel Falkingham is up to 3rd. He's got the freshest tires, but Rexing and Chin have been able to hold him back for now. Ryan Gable's working that outside line to a charm. Up to 4th, right back to the back bumper of Falkingham.
kind of surprised that the no tire call for Ryan Gavel has worked out the way that it has, especially with the way we saw it work for Crump. Maybe Gable did a little bit better with the tire saving and kind of just putting it to use, but fighting for the top 5 right now, which is pretty impressive.
Well, he did pick pit when Rexing and Shin pitted. Did Ryan Gable. I'm just wondering if, like you said, he didn't hear "I'm staying out" from his teammate and go, maybe I won't hit my pit stall. Down to the bottom underneath Falkingham.
A lot of it too is maybe 5 sets in the pits. Maybe Crump just trying to save a set for later on, seeing how bad this tire wear is. It could come out to benefit him. And honestly, I think that'd be a pretty good call. You see Ryan Gable kind of doing a diamond right there, electing to cut right across that bump back to the outside of Falkingham.
Mark Rebelos black flagged. Josh Chin now works to the outside lane. Saw that Ryan Gable was making some ground up there. Went to take the air away from the nose of the 0-1. That opens the door for Daniel Falkingham to get to the inside of the 93. Gable works back to the outside of Daniel Falkingham, and all this is going on with Jared Rexing leading. Rexing sees these guys running that top lane, decides to take their air away. Look how much speed that's provided at the bottom. Oh, Jesse Racimus loose. 80 car hangs on to it. What a save by Jesse Racimus. And again, that inside line with the dirty air seems to be one of the places that's kind of treacherous. You can see Racimus turning the wheel, but the 39 car was in front of him, and the right rear tire just did not grip up, and he was about lost it. As Daniel Falkingham will take control of this race, takes the lead over from Jared Rexing.
Ryan Gable's loose, holds on to it.
This is the same part in the run. We've seen it a couple times in a row where these guys just start to lose the handle, and this next gen car is a lot more difficult to save, it looks like.
It's the steering really makes it feel like it's hard to guess which way it's going to want to go, and I think it's just it feels so light that unless you kind of mess with the steering, the pinion as they call it, it doesn't really even change that much. So a lot of it's just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, which Ryan Gable is comfortable doing. He got big loose in 3 and 4 that last time around, and he's going to throw caution to the wind and keep doing it. I mean, if it's the only reason that he's able to stay in the top 5 and top 10 is running this top side, he's going to make it work. You see Jared Rexing in front of him all the way on the wall, able to still hold P2. But a lot of it too, and especially with the problem on the bottom that you were talking about, is you get so aero tight that you kind of have to naturally push the car, that when the car then gets loose, like the next gen normally does, especially on that bump, you're already putting so much wheel into it that you're kind of like, well, here we are. And there's nothing you can do at that point.
Oh, another one spinning. It's Johnny Thomas that's around. Off 2 again. I think he was able to hold on to it, but another car completely sideways. And there's a bunch of guys in this field that are hoping that one of these cars that gets sideways is not going to get saved by these talented Cup Series drivers. I don't think Johnny got any help from Josh Adams there, but he might have.
Could have been the smallest amount of contact, or I'm wondering if maybe him being right on his rear there kind of put some air there, but nonetheless, Daniel Falkingham, Jared Rexing there side by side for the lead. Rexing back to the bottom.
Car got light on Rexing on corner entry. He was able to hold on to it. He powers it off the corner, and Jared Rexing, Falkingham went driving by, and I thought that's probably it for the Jared Rexing challenge for the lead right here, but he's able to hold on. Here comes Ethan Stanley into the mix. Blake Ray, Rexing sideways on the apron.
Able to hold it.
Oh, I thought it was getting loose there in turn 3. It was, obviously, but he hung on to it in 3, could not hold on to it in 2. Rexing will fall back.
Which I thought the 3 and 4 would be the trouble point, but it really seems to be turn 2 more than anything right now. With how many cars we've seen get loose there, you see Justin Vandermarl work his way up into the top 7. Matthew Weeks working his way through on those fresh tires. And Ethan Stanley, who had early struggles, is up to 2nd, right behind Daniel Falkingham. You see Ryan Borges on the inside fighting, I believe that's Gable on the outside.
Yeah, and everybody using these different lanes too. They spread out 2 and 3 wide. I mean, that's one of the reasons everybody likes this old Texas configuration more than the way they've redone the new one. When you talk about tracks that have only one groove, that new Texas track with the turn 1 being all flattened out. I mean, you can only run the bottom there. Look at these guys, all 3, 4, 5 of the top 10 running the outside lane, making it work, making ground up top. good stuff. But, we've talked about the tire cost. That's potentially a problem. You talk about the handle on the car, but these guys obviously brave enough to get up there and do it, and they're making it work right now. But Blake Reynolds trying to hunt after Ethan Stanley for the second spot. On board with Blake Reynolds through this bump. Right there. There's the bump. It doesn't look like much on the onboard, but that thing unsettles the car when you're feeling the force feedback in your hands, and that's been the trouble spot all night long for these guys.
Yeah, and it looked like Ryan Gable had another struggle with it there off the 2, but he's able to hold on to it. He's still up in the top 7 right now, side by side with Vandermarl. He's still fighting on those old tires, so good call for him there. I think he's going to be somebody that succeeds if we get a yellow soon.
Right.
Jared Rexing is still on the wall.
I think the time is quickly approaching to pay dividends for making the stay out call for Ryan Gable, Jared Rexing, Josh Chin. Those guys are going to start, I think, falling back here. Paul Mikuleshik's already fallen back. You saw Scott Crump. He's well in the back of the field. Rexing just got really, really uncomfortable off of turn 4 there. He's 3 wide going into turn 1. His Weeks looks underneath Gable, but the Rexing battle is the one that I think could result in something here. There it is. 2 wide between Hogan, Rexing, Hibbs, Burrell. Trey Eidson is there. Ray Bracey looking on. 71 is backing up.
Yeah, and he's not shied away from running that top side, which kudos to him, because after seeing all these guys that have ran that middle groove and got loose, you see him get a little piece of the wall there. He's still sticking to it.
Ethan Stanley just took over the race lead, by the way, from Daniel Falkingham. This has been a remarkably competitive race. Every time somebody grabs the lead, and I think they're going to start driving away, a new car has driven up and taken the lead from them. Blake Reynolds now starting to challenge Daniel Falkingham for the second spot. It's almost like Ty, like a drafting track a little bit, where that clean air is good. It helps the car, but being able to get a pull down the straightaways is kind of equally strong. And then once somebody passes you, you change what you're doing a little bit, and you move back to them. That's kind of how it seems to be going right now, because we've had a bunch of lead changes in this race already, and a lot of very strong racing. As Trey Eidson loose off turn 2.
It definitely feels at this point, too, as we see Harrison Talon working the apron there as leaders go by, it feels like a rabbit to chase kind of race, right? You need somebody in front of you to kind of gauge what you're doing and what they're doing, and maybe they back out of it a little, and then somebody else gets it, and then they're like, okay, well, now I'm not doing enough. So
oh man, there's a bunch of cars. There's a bunch of big wreck here. Cale Pocock, Gilberto, Dusty Dewar probably should be a yellow. Zach would have a long rant to go on about whether or not we should be having a yellow flag. I mean, there's very clearly an incident. Gilberto's hood is up. This is a different incident, but he got loose off a 2 and hit the wall. Then Pocock wrecked. I think he took Dusty Dewar with him.
It looked like Cale was on the racetrack. Stop.
Yeah. So there's Gilberto's wreck. Unfortunate for the driver of the number 3 Shift Esports car. Oh, Blake just spun out a second. Oh, got a piece of Falkingham. He saves it. Blake does. Oh my goodness, so much happening here at the Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. Here's the Blake Reynolds incident. Just now, trying to chase down Ethan Stanley. Stanley got a piece of the wall. But watch Blake. You can see that car's already loose. And then this time into turn number 2, this 66 is going to get unsettled and go sliding. Right there.
Same point in the corner every time. It's pinpoint accuracy as far as when this car gets unsettled, but Blake able to hold on to it and still be in the top 10 right now is kind of insane. So again, I mean, that's why he's a 2-time defending champion.
Okay, so race control's going to have their Dusty Dewar's going to get the severe damage penalty. Race control's going to have their hands tied on this one. I don't know what happened to Dusty. Dusty comes up the track, wipes out Johnny and Cale Pocock. And
wow,
I don't know what
how
I don't know what happened there. Right, it's because the cars didn't get sideways, but Cale's car is done. Johnny got very lucky. A lot going on in this race. Let's see if maybe we can catch what happened. Obviously, this was the corner that Gilberto got sideways. Up front, it is still Ethan Stanley, Daniel Falkingham, Josh Chin. Oh yeah, Dusty got loose right when Gilberto got a piece of the wall. And this car is obviously damaged enough that it's not going to turn. And that's going to end Cale Pocock's race. Oh, two more just got loose off two. It's Racimus and another. Oh, man, this thing has been... Oh, Daniel Gore is involved. There's no caution somehow. There's cars spinning on the back straightaway. Michael Hosak's in the inside wall. Daniel Gore was around.
What is going on right now, David? I think we've got to 30 laps in this run.
Oh, there goes Van Marl and Rawls. There's a car spinning every single time we exit turn 2.
And I was going to talk about the Dusty incident, but now there's everything else happening.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening at this point. I have to suggest you just watch Quick Shifts. It'll be on Ray Bracey's YouTube channel. Go wild! Oh, my goodness. It'll be on Ray Bracey's YouTube channel. I'm sure you'll be able to see all this carnage with fantastic music. Jack Shin is in the wall sideways. Every single corner. I don't understand. Ethan Stanley continues to lead. Ryan Borges gets into third. Gable is now in fourth. What on earth?
It's like everybody in the top 5 is having issues right now.
Everybody in the race.
It's just... And we knew that it would get to this point, but we didn't expect to see it this bad.
And Carlos Acosta was in the infield care center. I haven't had a chance to even think about pulling him up. There's been so much going on. My goodness. And these folks at home, if you're new, if you're just tuning in, I've been broadcasting and racing on iRacing for a better part of 6 seasons. This is the single most talented racing league I've ever seen or been a part of. These guys are incredibly talented. This track car combination with the weather we have on right now is pure evil. And that's the only thing I can say about it. I mean, we have guys, the first caution of this race was Ethan Stanley, who's one of the strongest drivers I've ever seen, lose the car. This is a unbelievable result tonight.
Also, your stage winner, Ethan Stanley.
Yeah, that happened right now, actually. There's too much going on. Your stage is going to be Stanley Falkingham, Borges Weeks, Gable with stage points after the pit call. Nate Stewart, Garrison Hogan just got stage points. He's going to make a little contact with the inside wall. Josh Chin did get points. Ray Bracey got 2 stage points, and then Blake Reynolds grabbed 1. Hogan now falls outside the top 10 into the clutches of Ethan Burrell and Gavin Hibbs.
And I feel like this might be a redundant point here, but I think the pit window is open. It doesn't matter if you can make it to the end or not. The pit window is open, and I would imagine a lot of these guys will go.
Oh, Ethan Burrell's going to lose it out of the top. You saw it coming, and the yellow's out for that one. Burrell's going to get a tally, Zach, or a tie, but that's an unjust tally.
Yeah, is he?
That's just it's unjust. It's so unjust.
It's not moving well. Now it's moving, but it's not moving well.
That is absolutely outrageous that Ethan Burrell, after all of those incidents, is going to get the tally for the caution flag for a save that was frankly less egregious than some of the incidents that occurred under that green flag run. And the car came out from under him in the bump in turn 1. I mean, that's just, that's the exact same. Yeah.
Because you don't want to get it that sideways where it brings out a yellow. And then when it happens, you're thinking of everything that just happened, right? Dusty Dewar hitting Cale Pocock and that being significantly a 10 times worse incident. Mm-hmm. Yet you have to kind of take the tally. And it is only an in race, so it's not a points penalty or anything. It is just...
Oh, it's wild. Daniel Gore got wrecked in that group. There was a Hosak and Racimus got sideways. Gore got wrecked, was completely sideways on the back straightaway, bouncing off of other cars. I think Brent Jones got a piece of it. No caution for that one, but of course Ethan Burrell gets sideways and has to back it down, and that's the caution flag. Everybody coming to get 4 fresh tires, and I certainly can't blame them this time. There will be no help for anybody trying to make some strategy calls. Scott Crump did finally get his caution. Was not one of the cars to spin out. Neither was Ryan Gable. Yeah, I mean, there it is. But a wild green flag run here in the Lone Star State 250 for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. Some of the best drivers on the sim are struggling with the combo tonight.
Ethan Stanley will win the race off pit road. Weeks off second. Nate Stewart, Borges, Bracey, Reynolds, Hibbs, Hogan, Gable, Rexing, Holmes, and I believe that was Falkingham.
Dave, did Falkingham fix some damage? Because he did get hit by Blake Reynolds when he got sideways. Let's see. Making repairs. Falkingham, 2 seconds. Well, maybe not. That wasn't too much. Maybe he just got a bad entry, but he lost like 10 spots on pit road there. Was it all 4 tires as well? So we have the graphic, so we get a chance to look at them. Yeah, 4 tires for everybody.
Must have been a good stop for Ray Bracey. I know he was in the top 10 there, but up to 5th.
Yeah, he was like 9th at the stage, 8th at the caution, and now he's 5th. A lot of cars fixing damage as well, but Ethan Stanley did win our stage. Pole sitter Matthew Weeks is back up into 2nd. Nate Stewart's up into 3rd. But as we've seen tonight, Ty, speed doesn't mean a whole lot.
No,
we got a delay on the caution, which means somebody stopped on the racetrack.
looks like it was out of 4. I saw a lot of smoke. It looks like it might be the Ryan Schold machine.
Uh-oh. We've already had one caution incident under yellow in this race. Potentially snagged another one there.
See what happened. That's odd.
He
lost it in the tri-oval at like...
Yeah.
Looks like maybe a hardware malfunction or something.
Yeah, maybe he went to wiggle the car. I'm wondering if he wiggled the car and maybe that wheel came off the desk, or maybe he just got loose when he wiggled it. I don't know. Ryan Schold I don't know if he'll get any problems with that. I don't know how race control feels about a slide causing a delay in the yellow, because we're now coming to 1 to green. We should have been going green. Yeah, he's going to get an EOL for it. I think that's the only penalty, though. And Ryan Schold was on the lead lap, but well down the order.
If it were contact, I think he would definitely get something, but thankfully everybody was able to avoid him and keep their cars clean.
Zach Evans is in the YouTube chat. Please do join our YouTube chat and talk both to our ailing but recovering typical broadcaster, as well as others in the chat. And Zach said that he thinks Daniel Falkingham overshot the box due to there being a distraction with some guys having to pit in that front box. Here's our team list. That's a new graphic for us. Right now, South Shore Racing's got a good... what? I can't tell what we're seeing here. Is that just top driver? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is, because like Daniel Gore's way back in the field and raised in 5th. So I don't know. I'm not sure what this is showing. If anybody knows what this is showing, please let us know.
It doesn't look accurate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. South Shore should be a little further down with the one car running well, one car running bad, and one in the booth. Pace car is down pit road. Ethan Stanley is going to get the green flag. We are racing once again here from Legacy, Texas. Good jump for the outside lane, though, behind Stanley. Weeks and Borges able to surge alongside Nate Stewart. Blake Reynolds able to clear in front of Ray Bracey and drop down. Daniel Falkingham from 12th is going to have to try to work hard here. They're 3 wide around Ray Bracey again. Stop me if you heard that before. Ray tried to give a little room to Gavin Hibbs. They're 4 wide. They're going to make it work. Rexing working the outside lane, trying to get back to the front.
He wasted no time. Maybe almost a little bit of contact with Ray Bracey, but he wasted no time finding that top groove once again, and he's going to make it work. He's going to have a good run down the back straightaway. I just don't think... he's going to get a piece of the wall there.
In front, they're still side by side. Third on back, it's Stewart, Reynolds, Bracey, and Borges. Hibbs and Rexing. Rexing way to the outside lane. He's going to get a piece of the wall. That'll slow him up. They'll be 3 wide off the corner. Gable underneath Rexing now. Falkingham bypasses Hogan. All this behind Ethan Stanley, who has lost the lead to Matthew Weeks.
Weeks trying to get that lead back from earlier.
Ray Bracey painted up that 7 car this week, gave him some blue and orange. I think that car looks awesome. And we were talking last week. He was 3 wide middle a whole bunch. And I was like, Ray, you're doing a great job of being a guy that people feel comfortable racing 3 wide around. But boy, I sure wish they would stop taking you 3 wide. And they're trying to take it 3 wide on this restart too. Got a little piece of the wall that time.
You might have just commentators cursed him into that one, David. I'm not going.
Let's go to the race lead where Blake Reynolds is trying to get the lead from Matthew Weeks. 3 wide behind him. Ethan Stanley way up the racetrack. Stanley loses a bunch of time. Hibbs by, Stewart by, into the clutches of Falkingham and Bracey goes Ethan Stanley. And Falkingham's going to jump to the inside and get by the 91 as well.
And it wasn't as noticeable of a wiggle, but Blake Reynolds, there's one for Borges.
No.
4.
No, they're 3 wide.
Back.
Oh, and they wreck behind him. I did not see who was involved in the wreck.
There was way too much smoke.
There was going to be a wreck between Rexing and Ray, and it didn't materialize. I think there was a ton of netcode there. Oh, boy. Well, it was further back than this.
Let's see if we can...
You saw the netcode between Ray and Rexing, but it's even further back than that. I don't know who was involved in this wreck. Well, maybe Race Control knows who it was, because I do not.
Justin Vandermeer.
Oh, there it is. Aha! And he straightened it out immediately, which is why we couldn't tell who was involved. Did Vandermarl get a tally last week? Because I believe he did. Oh, and Ethan Burrell's going to get caught up in this.
Corey Abbott was also out of shape just behind Vandermarl in the same exact way. I don't know. That one could have been because Abbott saw it, hit the brakes. He was definitely within range to have tried to slow down and just had it kick out on him. But Ethan Burrell getting some nose damage there, some pretty bad nose damage. Kind of.
Oh man, look at that! Corey Abbott was. It's kind of funny, Ty. Corey getting loose there probably saved him from piling right into that rack.
Yeah.
So, thankfully for the 21, he's able to kind of dodge that one. But yeah, so that's another tally for Vandermarl, and let me check the penalty report from last week. But I believe Vandermarl was on. Let's see. Yeah, I got him as lap 74 last week. It was overturned though, so looks like Vandermarl will avoid further penalty going forward. But another tally for the 54.
Something we haven't really talked about right now, the biggest mover of the race is Ryan Gavel, started 43rd. He sits 11th, so somebody who passed a lot of cars and has put it to work. I believe Ray Bracey is the second highest with 21 up from 29th. He sits 8th. Gotta see anybody else notable. Josh Chen up 21 at the moment. He started 42nd.
I do believe Dave's got a graphic for this. Dave, do you have the graphic for the biggest movers? I don't know if we have it anymore.
Seamus with the Lucky Dog. I know that car is heavily beat up. So
I do want to
get that back.
You did mention the biggest movers. The biggest mover is definitely Ryan Gavel from 43rd starting spot up to 10th. But I want to talk about the Scott Crump strategy because he's got an extra set of tires in the pits. After that long run, he was able to save the tires enough to not go a lap down. He wasn't one of the cars that got out of shape. Now he's back up in 11th with an extra set of tires. Getting that track position back already. I mean, he wasn't involved in any of the carnage. He was able to get back behind it. I don't know. It might work out for that 90 car. We were questioning that strategy at the beginning of the race, but it's working so far.
Absolutely, and with how the cautions have gone, I would have to imagine that he could be able to put that to use. And knowing that when you get about 30, 35 laps into a run, it gets that just uncomfortable for these guys. That's gonna be a huge W in the book for Scott Crump.
Yeah, he needs the points. Missed last week's race and has had some other turmoil this season. Needs a good run. Matthew Weeks is the race leader. Blake Reynolds alongside him. They get into the restart zone. Weeks with an excellent jump. He will clear Blake Reynolds to the lead. Ryan Borges jumps alongside Reynolds. Gavin Hibbs trying to push that 66 car to get it going, but Reynolds just could not get going here, and it'll open the door for Borges. It opens the door for Falkingham. It opens the door for Ryan Gable to go 3 wide up top. Putting Ray Bracey 3 wide, of course.
Falkingham with a huge run down the back straightaway to the inside of Borges. He's now going to try to fight for the second spot. There's the biggest movers.
There it is. We found it. Falkingham clears Borges for second. That 3 wide battle, it sorts itself out. Ray Bracey still 3 wide now with Crump and Jaden Racimus into turn 1. Poor Ray, man. He is 3 wide all the time, and there's something good about being somebody people can be comfortable racing 3 wide with, but you don't always want to be 3 wide. That's just dangerous.
Battle for the lead. Falkingham around Weeks. Weeks tried to throw a big block down the back straightaway. Falkingham having none of it. He'll go to the point. Weeks now going to be under fire from Ryan Borges and Gavin Hibbs.
Weeks was able to stem the bleeding that time. We've seen Falkingham get up and bypass that 11 car on the early part of the run, but Weeks last time had to bail out of it, got up in that outside lane where he was very clearly uncomfortable, fell back really dramatically. Now he's able to kind of sort things out to the bottom, hold back Ryan Borges and Gavin Hibbs. And I think Matthew Weeks is the kind of guy that could really come to life if this race takes on a green flag complexion. Falkingham, though, right now setting some really blistering times. He's up to 0.6 of a second out there over Weeks, but Blake Reynolds trying to make some ground back up behind. He's going around Ryan Borges. For the 4th spot, he'll get it done.
He ran the absolute wall. Like there was maybe enough gap for a piece of paper between the 66 and the outside wall, and he did a nice little crossover move on Ryan. And I think Gavin might have just kind of done the same thing to Weeks. Blake's going to try to make it work again. You see him all the way up there. Weeks going to elect around the bottom, and the run he's going to have down the front straightaway is going to be big. It's not going to be enough to get around Matthew Weeks, but up to the back bumper for sure.
Looks like you can get a little too high. I think Blake got a little too high that time. That car wasn't quite as comfortable and didn't get quite the same run that it did in turn 1 the lap before. And now he's right behind Matthew Weeks, going to give the 11 a little bump draft as Gavin Hibbs starts to run down Daniel Falkingham. He's already cut 0.3 of a second out of that race lead.
We have not talked about that has just snuck into the top 10. Gerald Campbell, he sits 7th right now. See the gap between the two. Gavin Hibbs about 1.5 tenths quicker that time, 0.3 quicker on lap 79 than leader Daniel Falkingham.
Yeah, you talked about the having to run down the race leader, kind of having that rabbit out there to go get. That's what's happening. That's really what's happening, because I thought Daniel Falkingham got 0.6 of a second. I was like, that's probably enough for him to break free and start driving away. But here comes Gavin Hibbs right to the back bumper. And that's a guy that definitely needs to go up here and get a lap led, stay on pace with these guys he's racing for chase seating positions that'll get set next week. I mean, Gavin Hibbs can definitely make sure he's doing it right. You just mentioned Gerald Campbell. And now that 31 car is off the pace. Looks like it might have gotten loose in turn 4.
In that second groove. Yep, same spot right there at that bump. Jared Rexing able to get on the brakes and not run into the back of them, so good job on Jared for that. No damage for Gerald, just a lot of positions lost, and I have unfortunately commentators jinxed the crap out of him.
Yep, Gerald. You can send your your PayPal request to Ty for the next commentator's curse. He'll be accepting donations.
You can just get me back on Sunday. It's fine.
Michael Goodman just messaged me and said you can never get too high. That could be an on-track thing, or that could be an off-track thing. You never know. But I think that's just a great thing to say here. Good thing to share with you guys.
It's the Michael Goodman. that is as good as it will get. Is Gavin Hibbs now looking underneath Daniel Falkingham? Not quite going to get there. Going to get the dirty air right there at the center of the corner. Falkingham loose.
Here comes Hibbs. Oh, Falkingham was able to slam the door, but Hibbs jumps to the inside now into turn 3. Gavin Hibbs, like I said, needs to lead a lap. He hasn't led one yet. He's going to be, I think, clear that 39 car before they get back to the front straightaway. Gavin Hibbs gets to the race lead, won that second race of the season at Chicagoland, and has been really strong all season since, really racking up good finishes. That last week at Richmond was just about his worst race of the season so far. And I mean, this car has been top 2 bad fast week in and week out. For Gavin Hibbs, almost a piece of the wall that time. Now Falkingham's going to work back to the inside. I think that's what Hibbs was going for, though. He wanted to get up there, lead him a lap, get that bonus point, stay on pace with Blake Reynolds and Daniel Falkinghammer. Those are the guys he's racing for the championship with. Caution is out.
Turn 4. Somebody's around right on the exit. I'm sure they're going to get hit at this point with where they are.
It is Gavin Higgins in the 20. They managed to avoid him, Ty.
See what happened here. I'm sure we can guess.
This was a car that was damaged in that early wreck that took out Chad Frankenfield. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that one all race long. And you're right. I mean, Higgins had to have been sitting there thinking he was going to get clobbered. These guys did a great job getting around him.
On board with Seth Rawls on that one for me. Golly. Corey Abbott on the wall.
That'll be a good one.
In a heated battle, you see Vandermarl, Abbott, Burrell.
Danny G. All these guys have been damaged. And then now there's a stopped number 20 car up here. Uh-oh. And there was a car to his outside, by the way.
Yeah, there was no other option for Seth to try to fit that, to feed the camel through the eye of the needle there, and was able to do it.
Blake Reynolds is bullying Gavin Hibbs as we speak. There's the tally call. It will be on Hibbs. Oh, my goodness. Seth Rawls with a dodge. Keep that 25 car in this race.
Yeah, that would have been race over for him and Higgins had he been a little too far left. That would have been race over.
Pit stops. Some.
Falkingham fakes him out. Stanley down pit road. Gable, Chin, Rexing.
Scott Crump stayed on the racetrack. That is the one car I thought for sure was going to head down pit road. He has the whole extra set. When are you going to use it, Scott? This is the perfect time.
Cale Pocock, Rucker, Campbell, Hosick, Danny G. Danny G probably fixing damage as well as Seth Rawls.
Yeah, there's a number of cars fixing damage that are on pit road right now. A lot of guys have been involved in incidents tonight.
I'm with you. We questioned Scott when he stayed out. So right. I'm sure at some point there is a plan that Scott Crump has, and it's going to work. But I really thought that he would take it there. I was, especially with as many cars did.
And teammate
that
did.
Is half the field. Yeah.
Thought for sure because Gable would. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Daniel Falkingham is the race leader. Gavin Hibbs second as we roll through the field. Take a look at the running order here. How about he's coming up. He's behind Matthew Weeks and Garrison Hogan. How about old Jaden Racimus running P6 right here? Started 31st, having a really solid run. Have seen that one car sideways a time or two, but he's been able to straighten it out. Trey Eidson in the open car running well right now, P8. And I mean, Crump's P9. I understand not wanting to give up that track position since he ain't had it the whole race. Ray Bracey in 10th. Nate Stewart's in 11th. The herd of damaged cars heading off the pit road right now is rather entertaining. There's Ethan. Yeah, there's Ethan Stanley. 14th will be the restarting spot for the car with freshest tires. Ryan Gable 15th, Josh Chin 16th, Jared Rexing 17th. I mean, those are four cars that could they're aggressive enough and fast enough to tear through this field and maybe show why that's a big advantage, those tires. It's possible, though, that that's not a huge advantage, and it's one that'll only manifest if this race goes green a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to see, just because this is probably the most cars that we've had on the split strategy, just to kind of see the heat cycle and how that's going to work with these guys, because instead of there being like 4 or 6, there's probably 15 that are out here that did not take tires that time. So it's going to be chaos, and we're going to have a lot to cover here in the next 60 laps or so.
As if we haven't had a lot to cover in the first 88 laps.
It's going to get a lot worse.
This race is about to go berserk, as if it hasn't already. Daniel Falkingham to the restart zone. And we are racing again. Falkingham brought him down really slow, got a really good jump out of that. Gavin Hibbs was caught sleeping a little bit, able to jump to the inside in front of Garrison Hogan. Those Channel 199 cars able to work the bottom of the racetrack and try to push forward. They're 3 wide behind. Ryan Gable and Ethan Stanley are the show. Heading for turn 3 this time. They were 3 and 4 wide. Gable, the first car on those 4 fresh tires, working his way through the pack.
Garrison Hogan on that restart is now center punched. Talk about Falkenham, bringing him in slow. Got into the back bumper of teammate Blake Reynolds, and he is now pretty beat up. So Garrison Hogan's going to start falling down this order.
We'll see how that affects him. It's definitely damaged on my end. I don't know how much damage that is, but iRacing certainly registered that as damage. Couple of different cars hit the wall. Jaden Racimus, Nate Stewart, the two of those. Ryan Gable works to the way outside lane. That is the first car on 4 fresh tires. He is making the most of it right now. 0-1, Ryan Gable into the top 10 around Trey Eidson, working on his teammate Scott Crumpus. Here comes Blake Reynolds, or Gavin Hibbs underneath Blake Reynolds for second.
Blake didn't really fight it too much, and kind of seeing it right now, that rabbit to chase that we were talking about. As you see Ryan Gable also working back around Jaden Racimus, making quick work of Scott Crump. That's going to be somebody to keep your eye on. He works his way back up the ticker. But that rabbit to chase factor is definitely, like, it was kind of a theory, but I'm starting to believe that it's real with how quickly these guys are getting back to each other and then kind of falling back or seeing somebody else push up and then like, okay, well, now I have to go. You see Ryan Gable on that third lane. Oh, Racimus with a big move.
Got up in front of Gable, but this time Gable able to work to the bottom of the racetrack, and you would think that 0-1 will rotate a lot better than these cars he's racing with those 4 fresh tires. It's better now. Nate Stewart right in front of him. Stewart around. He'll take out Ryan Borges as well. Caution is out. Everybody scatters, but they're going to probably be able to dodge him. It was just the 2-car incident. Nate Stewart, Ryan Borges. That will be a tally, I believe, on the 67. And yes, you can drop the meme in the comments. And it's the same thing we've seen all night long. Nate Stewart gets loose in the second groove in turn 4.
Garrison Hogan almost got a piece of it. See Ryan Borges getting a pretty big chunk. Everybody else able to get by. Tyler Popp going through the grass. Schold having to get a piece of it. But, I mean, it's like David said earlier, folks. These are some of the most talented guys that are on the service. And I guarantee you that they know it's coming, but they have no sign of how bad it's going to be until it happens. There's not really a way to manage that too well. It's right on board with Tyler Popp.
Well, yeah, Tyler Popp is the one who went adventuring through the infield. Matthew Weeks is pitted. There's the tally for Nate Stewart. Well, unfortunate for Nate Stewart too, right? You think about the Ethan Burrell caution. He got the tally, but didn't get the caution causing contact there. But because Stewart got a piece of Ryan Borges on the way by, he gets the caution contact tally, which is one that'll get theoretically penalized with further tallies. It's a tough one.
See him getting some damage fixed. Race off pit road. Weeks is going to win that one.
Ray Bracey comes and gets tires. Johnny Thomas, Trey Holmes. I haven't said Trey Holmes' name today. He was up in about 12th there, but he had stayed on the racetrack. So had Ray Bracey. They're going to go grab some tires and see if they can't move their way through the carnage. They do sacrifice a lot of track position for that. Scott Crump didn't come in again. I'm definitely going to find Scott after the race and see what the plan was there. You know, they saved the set of tires. At some point, I thought he would use it. He just hasn't used it yet. Isn't needed it. He's in 8th. He's in 8th.
I thought that would be the time to use it too, but it would appear not.
Nate Stewart has retired from the race. We are rapidly dropping cars down to, I think, 34 total on the racetrack. All of them are on the lead lap as Ethan Burrell picks up the lucky dog and gets back in the lead lap. And a lot of those guys have had a ton of damage to fix. You know, if we have that the damage calculator graphic to bring up, we had, I mean, I've seen Daniel Gore on fixing damage for every single pit stop. There it is. Gavin Higgins, some of the most. Jesse Racimus, Harrison Talon, Daniel Gore. Over 3 minutes. What's this? 10, 12 cars with over a minute of damage fixed.
And a lot of these guys, I mean, Daniel Gore's up there in the playoff fight, so he's got to get every point he can. So I'm sure he's thankful for these yellows, but wishes that he was able to get a little bit more fixed.
Jonathan Cullip, another one that's had to take advantage of the yellows and get back up the running order. But you'll see that bright yellow car. He's there in 9th. Certainly a guy in the playoff hunt looking for a good run despite being involved in a bunch of the carnage tonight. Daniel Falkingham into the restart zone. We are racing once again here at lap 95, coming to 96 of 167 in the Lone Star State 250. The front 9 or so are on old tires, except for the car in P5, that being Ryan Gable. That car has fresher rubber than everybody around it, and he's been extremely aggressive in trying to get his track position back.
Seeing that nobody's going to fight him on that outside lane, he's going to make the most of it. And I would say he's probably going to get a good run to the outside of Garrison Hogan, who we're not sure. On your screen, he is very center punched, and I'm sure feeling that, whether it be temp-wise or lack of forward bite into the corner. But right now it seems to be just fine. So I'm sure that's just an icing issue, but Gable's able to get around him and up to 4th. Gavin Hibbs looks to the inside of Blake Reynolds for the 2nd spot.
That's a pass we saw executed by Hibbs in the last short run. Hibbs was able to get there and get around Blake Reynolds early in the run, but they haven't let Daniel Falkingham get nearly as far away this time. And Gavin Hibbs takes 2nd back over from Blake Reynolds. 3 wide in the middle pack. That's where Jonathan Cutlip runs. Gerald Campbell trying to get back into the top 10 after a big slide in turn 4. They're back to 2 wide now. You saw him at the top of the screen. It's still Falkingham, Hibbs, Reynolds. Ryan Gable up into 4th with those fresh tires. That 0-1 car is going to have something to say about these front 3 before we go too much further.
This is where it's going to get interesting, because he is, I would say, probably 20 lap fresher tires than these guys, and we haven't seen anybody with that big of a tire advantage get out to the lead and try to make it work. And right now it seems like he's kind of toned it down a little bit. He's starting to save a little bit more, not running the top as much, just trying to manage it. See, he pitted lap 86. So those are about 14 laps old now this time by.
He's looking for a way to get around Blake Reynolds. I think, you see him go to the top. I think that's what he's going to have to do for Ryan Gable, is go get the clean air wherever he can find it. And, you'll know better than I will, Ty, but with these latest iRacing updates, I do wonder if maybe there's a little less downside to running the top as opposed to running in clean air. If you can kind of get the clean air and run that top lane and make some speed, even if you do it for a couple laps, I don't think it's going to quite melt the tires as it would previously versus running just in somebody's dirty air. That seems to be a little more damaging to the car, where you're having to hang the wheel to the right and deal with that. As here comes Ryan Gable for 3rd.
It's definitely a lot more run where they aren't, which Daniel Falkingham with a wiggle. That's going to bring Gavin Hibbs and Ryan Gable a lot closer. But it's definitely a lot more run where they aren't, and I think that's what we're seeing Gable have to do as he gets back to the back bumper of these guys. It's going to be interesting to see where he runs. He's going to choose the bottom. Blake's going to run the top side. But I don't think Blake's gonna...
Yeah, with that tire advantage, Gable's making time on the bottoms. Here comes Gavin Hibbs for the race lead. Gable's making time even in the dirty air on the bottom of the racetrack. That car is a little bit better right now. It's just rotating through the center better. That's definitely the tire advantage working for Ryan Gable. As Hibbs fights Falkingham, this side draft is going to pull that 0-1 right up to him. And if you can get that fresher tires in clean air, I wonder if that car won't pull away from these guys.
He's going to have a really good look right down out of turn 2 here. Gavin's going to get side drafted. Falkingham's going to be up there. Maybe not as big of a run. I think it's like we were talking about earlier when Reynolds got too high. He didn't get as good of a run. I think that's what we just saw with Ryan Gable. They're not able to really get even to the outside of Gavin Hibbs, which I thought would kind of be a toss-up for him.
He's there. They're pulling away a little bit from Blake Reynolds. The next car on tires, I think it's Josh Adams in 9th. Ethan Stanley hasn't pushed forward. He's 12th right now. Matthew Weeks is 14th. Josh Chin's back in 15th. Those guys just have not moved forward quite the same. As Daniel Falkingham continues to lead, Ty, I wonder, as Brian Gable looks for 2nd, I wonder if there is a...
Hibbs is loose.
Hibbs is loose. Hang on to it, driver. Hang on to it. Gavin Hibbs with a great save, able to keep that 95 car pointed straight. He will lose several positions. Continues to fall through the field. But the 95 just about wiped it out. It just about wiped out my question. I was going to ask, do you think there's a fuel component to Matthew Weeks, Ethan Stanley holding back right now? Ryan Gable obviously going much more aggressively through this field than those two guys have. You think they're saving to try to make it to the end of the race on fuel?
I would put money on it, honestly, the way that I was kind of noticing that Gable had kind of pulled away and Ethan was behind him at the time, or I think ahead of him, actually. He was the first car in Freshies, and Ethan did not push, but Gable did, so I'm starting to wonder if there's more there. You see, I think 66, 67 is probably the most they can get out of it, so I would have to imagine that they're close as they are approaching 60 to go right here, so it'll be interesting to see. Blake Reynolds actually gets a lot closer to the back bumper of Ryan Gable there. It looked like Blake trying to push a little bit more. You see Garrison Hogan, he's up to 4th, so I'm going to guess that that is not damage that he has. It's just an iRacing visual.
Yeah. Maybe there is a little bit of damage, but the 55 is still working quite well right now. And you could see when Gable got a big push from Blake Reynolds that time, that gave him a huge run to get back towards the Daniel Falkingham car. Falkingham up the racetrack this time into that second groove, not by his choice. Here comes Ryan Gable. The 39 got way out of shape in 3. Here comes Gable for the race lead. He will grab it. Falkingham tries to side draft. He won't be able to. The fresh tires to the lead in the clean air for Ryan Gable.
Uh-oh.
He washes up, got a little loose. Here comes Falkingham back to the inside.
It's like right at that center point, he hit that bump that everybody's been hitting all night. Maybe felt it in clean air for the first time, trying to throttle up. Here's
Falkingham sideways, big sideways, saves the car again. Gable got way out of the gas, got a piece of Hogan coming back by. Hogan sideways, he saves it. Stanley has to back out of it. Chaos at Texas. Oh my goodness.
Going forward, we stay green. That was
Matthew,
like 3 different cars having incidents.
Trey Eidson's in second now somehow. Tyler Popp's in 4th. He was backwards on lap 1. Blake Reynolds has made away with the race lead.
I think.
Oh, wow.
I think at least on Ryan Gable's part, he might have pushed those tires a little too much and maybe took too much out of them. Which, I mean, he's going to go right back to the wall here. I think that's probably the only thing he can do is try to get it back to where he knows that he's good at, is he's going to blow Trey Eidson's doors off using that wall and try to set sail and get back towards Blake Reynolds. Gavin Hibbs has rebounded pretty well. He's down to the inside of Tyler Popp for 4th.
Reynolds looks uncomfortable here, too. Gable's running him back down. He's making time up.
I mean, I thought for sure that Daniel Falkingham might have been cooked.
I thought he was wrecked. I thought he was firmly wrecked.
It did not look good, but somehow we are green. Everybody stayed straight. No spins.
Oh, big block down the back straightaway. That is between Paul Mikolajczyk and Gerald Campbell, currently 7th and 8th on track. How about those two guys having really solid runs here? Gerald finished in the top 10 last week, and we didn't really talk very much about it, but he had an awesome run in that 31 car for Do Good Motorsports, and now he is doing a patented Gerald Campbell maneuver, which is run really close. Try to hold those guys back. Don't let anybody pass. That's very much how it is racing with Gerald Campbell as he works off of turn 4, jumps back to the inside of Paul Mikolajczyk, continues to battle. Gavin Hibbs is going to get back to 3rd around Trey Eidson, up ahead of this duo. And I think Matthew Weeks is sitting back here like, come on, guys, sort this out.
I was actually going to talk about him and Ethan Stanley both about to break the top 10 seal. And as we get closer, you see Trey Holmes with the black flag. I'm starting to wonder more, noticing that they didn't really take as much of an advantage as I thought they would with the situations that happened with Daniel Falkingham getting loose. I think that they've kind of still tapered themselves back a little bit. So saving could definitely be on the mind of those two. See Ray Bracey running just outside the top 10.
At the risk, and I'm a little worried to do it, but I'll do it anyway. Ray Bracey is the top car that pitted the last caution flag. So Gable, Weeks, Stanley pitted the caution before. Ray is the top car that pitted at our very last caution flag. And if Falkingham loose again underneath Ray Bracey, if there is a chance that this race goes green, which, I mean, looking at it right now, there's just no way. Ray Bracey's definitely good to the end on fuel because he pitted last.
Absolutely. And I think, I'm trying to remember who else was in that group. I'm not totally sure. But I can tell you right now somebody that is not comfortable.
That was Chad, right? No, not Chad. Johnny Thomas was in that group. Johnny Thomas was in that group. Andrew Rucker, Jaden Racimus was the other one that pitted with Ray that time.
And they are...
They're well back. Ray's up here fighting for the top 10. He's in 10th, actually. So, yeah, Trey Eidson back to the outside of Gavin Hibbs. This is almost a second behind Ryan Gable. Gable got a little bit loose this last time, lost 0.4 of a second to Blake Reynolds. Reynolds pulling away, but he will need to pit again before the end of this race. Certainly hoping for a yellow flag. And I would not put it past him. This has been chaotic enough that I would be shocked if we go green to the end from here.
We are absolutely getting towards that topsy-turvy range that we saw earlier, where we got about 20 to 30 laps into a run, and then everything kind of broke loose, and these guys were struggling everywhere. We had not one lap did somebody not get loose out of turn 2, and I think even with car number 66, I would expect, with knowing how old those tires are and him having to push to try to stay ahead of guys like Ryan Gable, that car's going to get really unhappy soon.
Yeah, you think about Daniel Falkingham, the points leader, Coke Series driver, one of the most talented on the service, losing that car and multiple times having a major handful right now. So we will see whether these guys are able to keep things straight and let this race kind of enter a complexion of pit strategy to the end of this thing, because it could get really, really interesting if we take a look towards the end and, see we got a lot of guys that need to pit, maybe some guys that may not have to pit. Guys are saving tires, guys are, pushing early and falling back right now and struggling. It might have, we talked about that at the World 600 where things got, Jared Rexing just made a pass in the grass. There's no way we're going green, man. This thing is crazy. Let's go back to Daniel Falkingham, Jared Rexing, Ryan Schold. Ryan Schold just got loose in front of Ryan Borges. Yeah, this is where, if the caution comes out, this is where it'll be.
Group of guys that have had struggles. Talking about Falkingham. Oh, Falkingham loose again. Joshua Chin loose.
My goodness. Chin loose, saves it. That's the second or third time that 93 car has been sideways tonight. I just wonder if there's maybe an advantage to being able to go 90% in a race like this. And a lot of these guys are really good at running 100% and being, as fast as you can, lap in and lap out, especially this 39 car. I wonder if there isn't some advantage here of where you can just go 90% as fast as normal and be okay.
There is certainly, I would have to imagine, a limit. And these guys are really good at finding that. And I would expect if anybody would have found it, it would have been Daniel Falkingham. But I think he's kind of getting to a point where that car's just unhappy. I'm watching him as we've been watching this battle. He gets to 3, and the car kind of washes up, and there's not a whole lot he can really do about it. Because if you put too much wheel into it, he's kind of just having to let it ride up. You see Garrison Hogan behind him gets him to the wall. But there's just a point where you're not driving the car anymore. The car's kind of controlling you, and you're at its mercy. So you're just trying to kind of work it around. But I think definitely 90% is what we're looking at here with a lot of these guys. I'm sure Blake Reynolds has kind of backed himself down. Daniel Falkingham actually with a huge moment. He's going to let a lot of these guys go by here in 1 and 2. Joshua Chin gets by.
Oh, Falkingham's going to pit road. There's no way he's not heading to pit road right here. The way that move went, he needed the bottom lane this lap, and yeah, here comes Daniel Falkingham down pit lane. I think this is too early. I think he'll get eaten up. But this is, I would argue, an inarguable good move for a guy who was really struggling and might have wrecked the car if he stayed out there any longer. The next car that's starting to really struggle is Ryan Gable. He has dropped over a second back from Blake Reynolds, just lost second to Tyler Popp. Trey Eidson now moving by as well, and he's going to fall into the clutches of this battle between Josh Adams and Gerald Campbell. That one's been ongoing for a while. Jared Rexing a moment off turn 4. This is the time, Ty. This is when it's going to get extremely chaotic, and we're going to start seeing guys lap after lap struggle.
And I think that the call for Daniel Falkingham here, so we see them start to struggle a lot more. Ryan Gable
Michael Hosack just went sliding down the infield in turn 2. No caution. We stay green.
I think the big play for Falkingham here, right? We got a guy like Blake Reynolds who was on significantly older tires than Ryan Gable and was able to find that spot and kind of keep himself up there. So what I'm thinking is he knows that there could be a yellow. If he's able to get himself back on the lead lap, and it takes just long enough for him to do that, get a caution, get the tires cycled back down, he's able to keep track position and not have to work his way back through everything. If that plays out for Daniel Falkingham, I think that is a huge call for him.
Right, he needs this thing to cycle through, does Daniel Falkingham. And obviously, that's unlikely, the way this thing has been running. Ryan Gable holding off Trey Eidson at the moment. Battle for third. Tyler Popp is up to second. Blake Reynolds way out there with the race lead. Though that car seems to be comfortable right now. So I think Reynolds is just going to stay out there until the tank is dry.
Which, I mean, we saw that he was struggling with earlier. Very surprised that he has got it to a point where he is comfortable and not feeling like he might be on the edge of everything. You see Ray Bracey work around Matthew Weeks and Paul Mikulajczyk, Ryan Schold on pit road.
This car has had a couple of moments in that outside line. Jaden Racimus had one in the front straightaway. He's falling back now. Behind Ethan Stanley. Stanley has backed way off, and I think that's one of the cars that can definitely try to make it to the end. I'm getting worried that Ray Bracey can't make it to the end, though, so I'm thinking there is going to need to be at least one pit stop for everybody in the field here.
Yeah, if he was on that last group that pitted, I would have to imagine if he can't, nobody can. As we see Ethan Stanley working his way through.
Ray's been battling Mikulajczyk for the better part of the last couple of laps. This is a battle for the 8th position. Right behind Josh Adams, Gavin Hibbs, Gerald Campbell in P5, having a great run tonight.
Wasn't me this time, Gerald, if something happens.
He's had a good run.
Who had a moment there? Was that Brent Jones, I think? Down to the infield on the front straightaway. Holds on to it, doesn't bring any yellow.
It's bumpy down there, but Brent was able to hold on to it.
Oh.
Still struggling. Oh, this track has gotten everybody in the field. Trey Holmes down pit lane. That means Blake Reynolds has to be heading down soon. I think Holmes is on that same strategy. Heading down soon to pit lane. Black flag for Ryan Schold. I assume that's speeding. Nigel Stock to pit road. Gavin Hibbs on pit road there as well. Oh, Schold is pit boxes.
Oh, Nigel Stock spun out on the way to pit road.
No. Third, I think, race from Nigel Stock in this Belly Up Sports Cup Series.
Somebody that has been doing a great job in the ARCA side and obviously just ramped that season up. He started to do a lot more National Series races.
Don't look now. Blake Reynolds is really starting to struggle. Tyler Popp has eaten into that lead quite significantly. He's down under a second. Battle is for 4th there between Gable and Campbell. I wonder if Reynolds is going to be heading for pit lane soon. Maybe this time? No. Campbell into 4th.
Popp, somebody obviously that was really quick to start this race. Kind of had the first incident in that kind of mid-stage with the tires, but has really got his head back on straight, and he's worked his way back up. Trey Eidson, somebody that's been kind of sneaky quiet. We haven't talked about him that much, but he's been up inside the top 10 for a good portion of this race.
Yeah, finished in the podium last week. We got to talk to him for the first time. He's having another good run tonight, really trying to work his way into having a charter for next season in that 27 car. Should be able to get that done with another good run like this. Down pit road comes Ray Bracey. He had just lost touch with like Matthew Weeks and Paul Mikulajczyk, and he's going to bail for pit road, try to chop this last stage in half. Here's some of these guys on fresh tires working through the traffic, resulting in some moments. These guys don't need a yellow.
Get a gauge on where Falkingham is compared to the leaders. Falkingham is, I would have to imagine, probably about half a lap behind right now. Absolutely. He is out of turn 4. Your race leader is going to be probably in turn 2. Yep, Blake Reynolds turn 2. So a little bit further to go for this to work out for Falkingham if a yellow did happen, but At this point, I would almost say that a caution will happen before that gets to go through.
Gavin Hibbs just bypassed Falkingham as well, so this will not work out as him being on the right side of that strategy. Josh Chin heading for pit lane this time. He gets down pit road speed okay. Reynolds' lead is down to 0.4 of a second, and it's narrowing and shrinking significantly. Tyler Pop really putting a big gap into Blake Reynolds' lead, and my wager is that Reynolds, as Pop gets close, will just bail for pit lane. Not yet, though.
Pop's kind of running about like a half a lane up, so you would think that he would still be in the dirty air. I don't know if that's just him being a little bit more comfortable with the car right now than maybe Blake Reynolds is, but Pop through 1 and 2 is going to get right in that dirty air, maybe get that left side just a little bit lower. Still able to keep it pretty good. He's going to have a good run down the back straightaway. Trey Eidson closing in on this battle as well.
Pop works to the middle lane up, like you said. Reynolds kind of drifts up into that lane. Gives a little dirty air to the nose of Tyler Pop. You'll note that when Pop was in that clean air, he really didn't struggle going through the corner that time. When he got to the back bumper, Blake Reynolds, that car washed out just a little bit. Paul Mikolajczyk down pit lane.
Reynolds got a piece of the apron. That's going to be a huge run down the back straightaway for Pop. Blake loose again.
And Tyler Pop to the race lead. Trey Eidson rockets by Blake Reynolds as well. I have to think Reynolds is going to hit pit lane this time. Got loose that time in turn 2, and that resulted in the lead change. Yes, here comes Blake Reynolds down pit road. That looked a little fast. We have the black flag. We have the black flag icon to pop up. Tyler Pop is probably going to come down pit road next time by. Trey Eidson would take over the race lead if that happens. You've got 2 guys with Nigel Stock and Ryan Schuld right here, 4 fresh tires, trying to figure out where these leaders are going to go. Tyler Pop's going to go to pit lane. Is Trey Eidson just going to follow him down pit road? Looks like he is. Yep. Oh, Pop's got to be too quick there. He made it. Wow. Gerald Campbell to the race lead.
Oh, Jared Rexing was not good. That is going to be pretty bad for him.
He will get I believe, a drive-through. I think race control will clear the flag and give Rexing a drive-through penalty here. And they will.
Gerald.
Spinner. It's Gerald trying to get to pit road. He's still loose. He's still spinning. He's on pit lane, though. The caution should not come out. But he's sideways on pit road. Ryan Gable has the lead. Andrew Rucker and Josh Adams, they're 3 wide for the lead in turn 1. Gable sideways and into the wall. Gable from 3 wide, he wrecks. Gable's slow in the middle of the racetrack in turn 2. Right front is broken on Ryan Gable's car. Andrew Rucker has the race lead. Gable's got to get down to pit road, but he can't do it. The car's broken.
Yeah,
Scott Crump. Go ahead.
It looked like he was just in the middle of that situation and kind of had nowhere to go but hit that bump. And the older tires and Ryan Gable not really getting along there too well. That's race over for him. He almost got down, but Ray Bracey was coming a little too quick for him to be able to get down to the bottom.
He's calling it out now, but Gable's going to be able to get to the bottom and get to pit lane. Oh, heartbreak for Ryan Gable. He had a great run going. Andrew Rucker is leading this race, by the way, on this long run strategy. That's not really something I was expecting to say tonight. Josh Adams runs 2nd, Ryan Borges 3rd, Matthew Weeks 4th, Justin Vandermarl 5th. I think if they have to pit, these guys have stayed out a little too long. But if they're able to save and get to the end, I mean, that's a brilliant strategy. And at this point, if you're Ranger Rucker, you got nothing to lose. Run this thing dry. If the caution comes out, you're in a great spot.
I was going to say, Rucker definitely has that mindset. And I think even for Weeks, I think a lot of this, too, is maybe seeing how that first long run went. I think everybody's been expecting a yellow by this point in time. And we haven't got one yet, which is honestly really surprising to me. These guys have done a great job of keeping it underneath them. And I would have to say right now, I would expect Matthew Weeks down pit road pretty soon.
If you wanted an update on the cars that did pit already, Gavin Hibbs is the leader amongst those. He is on the lead lap in the 95. Daniel Falkingham would be 2nd among those. Blake Reynolds 3rd. Tyler Pop 4th. and then Mikolajczyk, Eidson, and Ray Bracey. Justin Vandermeer. Yep. Rucker's still out there. Adams still out there. Borges. They're all still on the racetrack. Blake Reynolds goes around. Daniel Falkingham trying to get up to these leaders and get back on the lead lap. Those guys, I mean, Gavin Hibbs is already back on the lead lap in front of Andrew Rucker. There's a big gap for Gavin Hibbs right now. If everybody has to pit, Hibbs is in a really good spot.
We're looking at Josh Adams running second, Andrew Rucker the leader right in front of him, Ryan Borges just behind. I think this is probably the closest that these three have been in relative to the last probably 10-15 laps to each other. Rucker's starting to struggle a lot. He just went really high in turns 3 and 4, kind of hit that middle groove and was fighting the handling, trying to keep that thing underneath him. He's going to give up a little bit of time to Josh Adams, who has that push from Ryan Borges. But Trey Holmes going to be working through on fresh tires, so it's going to be interesting to see how they manage this. Blake Reynolds just behind them as well with Tyler Popp. So they're going to unlap themselves here shortly.
Holmes is an extra lap behind Popp and Reynolds. Popp, though, has driven around Falkingham, and he's got fresher tires than Blake Reynolds. So Tyler Popp in that 14 car might be the biggest challenger right now to Gavin Hibbs, who's up the road from even Andrew Rucker here. That 14 is going to be the car that's on the move right now. Around Blake Reynolds goes Tyler Popp. But again, they still got to bypass 3 race leaders here, and they're all on the bottom of the racetrack. So Popp has nowhere to go. Reynolds to the outside of Ryan Borges. This puts the lead lap cars in a treacherous spot. Borges loose. He ends up going underneath Josh Adams. Adams able to get out of the way, but the lapped cars with the fresh rubber providing a challenge, and that's going to prevent Tyler Popp from getting around Blake Reynolds for the time being.
For the current lead at the moment, Ryan Borges starting to push Josh Adams forward, maybe momentarily. Popp kind of going to slow that down a little bit on Josh Adams as he and Blake Reynolds are working to unlap themselves. Andrew Rucker, see on the bottom of your screen there, kind of teeter-tottering on E, probably about 5 or 6 laps left in the tank, I would have to say, if that.
Yeah, that car seems to be fading now as here comes Falkingham and Trey Holmes underneath the 2 leaders. Borges gets Josh Adams for second. Blake Reynolds unlaps himself. Tyler Popp will be next in line to go back on the lead lap. He will do so right now. Top 10 have not pitted on your screen. In fact, the top 12 have not hit pit lane yet. Gavin Hibbs in 13th is the first car that has come down pit lane, would be the de facto leader if everybody cannot make it to the end, as we do believe they can't. Andrew Rucker, the current race leader, staying on the racetrack, hoping for a yellow flag.
I have to say we're getting 17 to go this time by for Andrew Rucker, so the fact that we have not seen one yet is surprising, and I'm starting to wonder if we will see Andrew Rucker working around Ryan Gable, Seth Rawls, both with some pretty heavy damage. Daniel Gore's going to be next up on that train.
With all this traffic and stuff, there is a real possibility that somebody gets run over with these fresh tires versus old tires. And we've had that second lane spin shenanigan going on all night long.
Ooh. Rucker's definitely fighting a little bit of handling. Getting loose that time by. Out of turn 2.
He's okay for now. Got some clean air in front of him at the moment. Popp going around Blake Reynolds up ahead of him, trying to get around him while Ethan Burrell and Nigel Stock are right in their way. So that is a technical battle for second behind Gavin Hibbs, who's 4 seconds up the road.
Falkingham going to work underneath Andrew Rucker to put himself back on the lead lap. Ooh, he's going to get a little sideways.
Tyler Popp is stuck in a blender right now with Blake Reynolds trying to bypass him. That's the battle I'm watching, because right now, I mean, if these guys can make it 15 more laps, I mean, kudos to them, man. What an incredible fuel save. We just do not believe they can do it. Jared Rexick bounces off the wall right in front of Gavin Hibbs. Hibbs is the car that I think we believe has the potential to win this race right now. I think that's probably the highest chanced car. He's 4 seconds up the road from his nearest competition, which is Blake Reynolds and Tyler Popp. This 95 is looking, he's in 10th now, so only 9 cars remain. He's closing in on Gavin Higgins and Johnny Thomas if those guys are trying to save to get to the end. 3 wide for the race leader, Andrew Rucker. He's way up in the outside groove. Gonna be Rucker's still staying out there, though. I mean, like you said, run the fuel tank dry.
I think he's somebody that is an open car every week, so this would be huge for him to be able to get one for the little guys, as they say. And if you're looking at the bottom of your screen there, that's significantly smaller than it was, and I would have to imagine that thing is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower, and it's going to be nowhere near the end of the race by the time he's going to run out. But kudos to him for sticking with it. I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people would have pulled the parachute, but Andrew Rucker is not.
Rucker, Borges, Adams, and Weeks are all within 5 seconds. Weeks has been the slowest among those. And that's, to me, the intriguing car, because that was a car that we acknowledged at the beginning of the run did not press for pace. It was very much on a fuel save strategy from the get-go, was Matthew Weeks, as Andrew Rucker stays out again. I wonder how much fuel we have in the tank. Obviously, the number was like the 65 to 67 lap range. We're going to have to see whether or not one of these guys can make it to the end, and whether Gavin Hibbs can pass him. He's obviously gotten by Harrison Talon, Gavin Higgins, Michael Hosack has bailed the pit lane. He's up to 7th now. Rucker's coming down. Following him in is Josh Adams. That leaves Ryan Borges out on the racetrack, Matthew Weeks, Brent Jones. Weeks is the one, I think, that could get it done. That's one that's been saving. Brent Jones is called for pit lane from 3rd spot. Johnny Thomas currently 4th, but about to be bypassed by Gavin Hibbs. Meatball flag for Seth Rawls. Wonder if that's a tire.
That's my thought, would have to be. I haven't really seen him have any significant contact with anything, but looking at Matthew Weeks' onboard, I am watching his revs more than anything. He's not even getting that thing. He's getting kind of to that first yellow dot on the tack there, as you can see it, and he's not pushing the throttle at all. He's not having to lift too much more than he's kind of going. He's really, I mean, he's minimizing the throttle that he's getting that thing up to. He's not even hitting that first yellow dot on the tack. So huge fuel save for Matthew Weeks right now. So he obviously thinks that he has enough to get it to the end at this point.
And if he does, I mean, that's an incredible call. He was saving from the get-go, though that car has some very low language here in turn 3, maybe letting Gerald Campbell by up on the outside lane. But yeah, I mean, for a guy that's running for a championship, he's got 12 seconds to give back to Gavin Hibbs behind him. Ryan Borges is up ahead of him, but to our knowledge, Borges has been running much faster laps than Matthew Weeks. Yeah, this is the guy right now. This is the battle right here. Can Gavin Hibbs close that gap down 12 seconds?
See if we can get... Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing Ryan Borges. He is full pushing this thing. So I would have to imagine he's probably praying for a yellow. Matthew Weeks trying to get it to the end. Unless Borges has somehow saved at some other point in the race miraculously, which I don't think is the case.
Yeah, that would be unlikely given the way that car is run. Just seems like Borges is going to run the tank dry. Matthew Weeks is very clearly trying to keep this thing low, make sure he has enough fuel to make it to the end. At the very least, he's going to try to, but he's hemorrhaging a lot of time to Gavin Hibbs, and that's going to make this very difficult for Matthew Weeks. Borges is the leader. Weeks is second, but Weeks is the car we think can make it to the end, maybe. Trying to make it there. Gavin Hibbs runs 3rd. He's got 2.5 seconds over Blake Reynolds in 4th, Tyler Popp in 5th. Those two are still nose to tail. Popp has still not been able to bypass Blake Reynolds. Caution is out. There it is. Ryan Schold gets the break he needed. Matthew Weeks, maybe the break he did not need.
Corey Abbott in the grass. Have to imagine he's involved.
Oh, and it's all going to go crazy. Corey Abbott. Yep. And an incident there that definitely has not yielded a caution at multiple times in this race. But just a couple, maybe our 2 longest green flag runs have been stopped by an incident that was maybe less significant than other incidents that occurred in the race tonight. Ryan Borges gets to drop to pit road, take 4 fresh tires, pump enough gas in this thing to get to the end and restart with the lead potentially.
Currently 14 cars on the lead lap. I would have to imagine that a bunch behind are going to take the wave around. Those cars including Josh Adams, Ethan Burrell, Garrison Hogan, all those guys will take the wave around and get back on the lead lap. But, Ryan Borges missed his box. He had to back up.
He had a massive lead coming to pit road, though, Ty. I mean, those guys are all just now getting into their boxes. Borges is almost done with service already, and that's with a delay on getting into the box. I maybe Matthew Weeks can make up some of that ground here. Here comes Gavin Hibbs with a 2-tire call. I don't think he got Borges coming off pit road. Trey Eidson stayed on the racetrack, by the way.
Which, looking at what he's got about half a tank left, so that means he's about 30 laps into that run for him.
25 lap tires. It worked for 2 laps. It worked for a lap for Scott Crump.
You know who else it worked out for that kind of started that green flag run? Blake Reynolds in a similar boat when that happened. So curious to see. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. There's not as many cars out here on the racetrack to kind of be a buffer for Trey Eidson, but we did see it work for Blake Reynolds.
Right. Reynolds had a lot less laps on the tires, though. This is more akin to Scott Crump staying out earlier in the race on tires, and that's going to prevent a lot of guys from getting a wave around. A bunch of them have hit pit lane. Anybody who was behind Eidson on the racetrack there will not get a wave around. The cars that will, you mentioned Josh Chin, Ethan Burrell, Garrison Hogan, but get Gerald Campbell, Josh Adams, Ray Bracey, Ethan Stanley will all get wave arounds and get back on the lead lap. They would, they're hoping for some carnage, I believe, in that group.
Shout out Johnny Thomas having a good run.
Yeah, he saved to the end. I think he did not. He's another one that got the fortune of waiting for that yellow flag. Those guys had bypassed him, but he's going to restart 7th here. Trey Eidson will be the race leader. Ryan Borges will restart 2nd. Gavin Hibbs 3rd. Blake Reynolds 4th. Matthew Weeks will restart 5th. Tyler Popp 6th. Johnny Thomas 7th. Paul Mikolajczyk 8th. Harrison Talon's going to restart 9th. He also got the benefit of that caution flag. Daniel Fulkingham will restart in 10th, and he's been the fastest car on those short runs. It's been carnage. It's been chaos tonight from Texas. Trey Eidson's going to have control of this race. Let's see what he can do with 25-lap-old tires. Green flag waving. Eidson brings him slowly into the restart zone, gets a good jump after that. Borges hung up in the outside lane. It's 4 tires all behind him. Can Eidson use the clean air to his advantage? Hibbs will clear by Borges. Gavin Hibbs is going to be looking for the lead in turn 3. Here comes Hibbs. Blocked by Eidson. Holds him back for now. Side by side behind. It's Borges and Hibbs working behind Eidson as Eidson comes to, I believe, the white flag. Yes, white flag for Eidson. 3 wide behind. Here comes Weeks. Here comes Borges to the outside of Eidson. Ryan Borges with the run. Eidson with the old tires trying to make it stick on the bottom of the racetrack. They're side by side down the back. Weeks and Reynolds side by side. Here comes Blake Reynolds to the inside. Borges clears. Eidson. Reynolds is not going to get there. After suspension at Iowa, Ryan Borges is going to come off turn 4 and win the Lone Star State 250 over Blake Reynolds and Matthew Weeks. They crash behind, but Ryan Borges is going to take home the victory after getting the lucky caution. He'll seal the deal. Awesome finish.
So
How about
I mean, the strategy did not go the way for Matthew Weeks. He still finishes 3rd. He still brings home a good one. But for Ryan Borges, the lead that he had to come down and put 4 tires on it and be able to take advantage of that yellow, that imagine if he had pitted. right? And we would be talking about a completely different situation, but able to hold on to it. Didn't save any gas either, but he gets it done. Blake Reynolds put himself on the wall trying to get to him, just trying to get everything he could. Paul Mikolajczyk ends up with a top 5. He started 25th on the night.
How about Andrew Rucker? You know, he led so much that race, wound up having to come down pit lane. He does finish 10th. It's one of those I want to get Zach's, you know, we'll get Zach back at some point, but he would have the stats. My wager is it's been a couple of seasons for Andrew Rucker since his last top 10 finish in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. He led a bunch of laps tonight too.
Yeah, I'm sure Zach is in chat and will probably get those numbers for us. I'm sure,
right?
Being the stat nerd that he is, but so we get these guys into interview waiting.
Let's bring up Matthew Weeks. Go ahead and get him started. It's been a long place finisher, Matthew Weeks here, and Matthew, you know, it looked like you were saving some fuel there at the end. The real question is, could you make it there without that late caution?
Yeah, I was going to be good. I think I was going to run out like coming out of 4, and I think I built enough gap to hold it right there. So if I ran out, I could have made it. So I was good. I didn't want to see that caution.
And, you know, with that, I mean, obviously the rest of the race, you know, you qualified on pole, you led some laps, had a good run, but ultimately just a couple of spots short. It seemed like you were more of a long run car than a short run car. So, you know, take us through the setup of the race, because it seemed like it was really chaotic, especially, you know, in the middle part of the runs.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, man. I thrive on them long runs. That's what I pace myself on every single time we race, and I felt good. I was surprised I got the pole. I thought I was going to qualify maybe like 5th or 6th with how I was in practice, but getting the pole, that felt good with the points, and then we're really good. And then there was a mix like through the stage right before the stage happened with the caution where some people stayed out, some of us pitted, and it mixed. And then I noticed like late in that run when we got deep, I felt really good, and I was running like a 10th, sometimes 2/10 faster than the guys in front of me. And I was like, okay, I mean, we have a good shot, and everything was going good, and I felt comfortable, and I liked how the setup was like burning the rear. I like it when a car drives like that, and so I don't know, it was just a fun night. I like when you actually got to drive the car, and that's what you had to do tonight. You really had to be precise to hit that bottom or the middle wherever you're running. You couldn't like move the wheel too much. You had to be like right on the mark, not to mess up. And I enjoy that type of stuff when you got to be, you know, right on it every single time, and that was fun.
And obviously, Matthew, with the point situation, you know, you've been really strong this season, should be on your way to a good chase berth, but with a night like tonight where you pick up some stage points, a pole, laps led, I mean, you know, puts you in a safe spot. You might even be locked going to next week at Atlanta. Is there, you know, any preparation going into this chase rounds where, you know, you're going to have to outpoint these guys that have kind of been just a little bit ahead of you throughout this season?
Yeah, I wish there were some races I could take back. Like I knew getting wrecked early in the 600, and I was like felt so good in that race. I was like, that's like an extra stage and everything. I lost some points, and that killed me. And after that, it's just been mediocre runs, and it's pretty much what it's been this season. I haven't felt like I've had winning pace. I felt like I've been like a 5th to 10th place car most weeks, and so I got to get better. And once we start the playoffs, I mean, you know, these guys that are on the sim every single day, just running laps, doing whatever, you know, they got more time than us. So we're a little behind already. So I guess, you know, we had to do the same thing and start practicing a little more. But, you know, we all like to do other things. So, I mean, it's always going to hurt us racing those guys for the championship because, you know, they spend so many hours a day on the sim. So we're always behind.
And you got any shout outs, thank yous and whatnot to provide for us here before we send you off?
Oh, shout out, you know, you guys in the booth, Chad that runs the league, all the sponsors, Belly Up and all them, the Pro Edge guys. I really didn't see much tonight. I know Ethan, I heard him in Discord having fun driving the car. I think he had some bad luck late in the race and took her and then wasn't here. So it was really just us two, I think. And Trey was there. I know he had like a speeding penalty, something. and he was good on the late run too. So shout out those guys and Fueled Up and Channel 199. You know, we're all good friends and hang out in Discord a lot. So I mean, pretty much we run good every single week. One of us probably wins the race if we're not all wrecked out. So that's cool too. And JV Designs that paints all my cars. I mean, he hit this banger out for the 600, and it's become my favorite scheme that I want to run every single week now. So shout out to Justin for always, making my stuff look good, and every other scheme he makes, man, he does a good job. And John Cutlip at JD Designs, and there's a couple others that paint cars as well. So shout out to those guys that make the cars look great for you guys on the broadcast to show our little hobby that we like to do during the week.
Well, we appreciate it, Matthew. Congrats on P3, and good luck next week at Atlanta. Probably, like I said, probably locked in, but it should be a fun race anyway. I'm sure we'll see you at the front, and yeah, go get them.
All right, man. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Let's grab P2 Blake Reynolds. I'll turn it over to you, Ty, for this interview.
Hey, Blake is typing in the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. He caught me while I was talking to Gavin Hibbs.
I feel like that happens all the time, but ultimately led a good portion of the middle part of the race, and that last yellow kind of caught you mid-cycle, just short. But with the setup being the way that it was for us, at least, I know a lot of you guys were having struggles with that kind of second groove. Was on a scale of everything that you've driven, how awkward was it to get around this racetrack tonight?
It was pretty awkward, but it was the wind. It wasn't the setup. I had tried the setup just in default weather, and it felt perfect. Like, I think this is made by Jarrett Liebert tonight, so a really nice setup builder with a really nice setup. Just good brakes, good steering ratio, offset. Everything was set perfectly, in my opinion. It was the wind. We had 25-mile-an-hour wind. I forget which. I think it was a tailwind into one. Or no. Sorry, it was a headwind into one. So like we had IndyCar downforce. There was some points in that race I was full throttle to the center of the corner. I'd lift and just dab the brake like in the center of the corner, and then just like caress it off of 2 because 2 was so sketchy with all the. It wasn't just like rubber; it was spin rubber. And spin rubber is worse than race rubber. So it was crazy. It's just so crazy. I had a couple slides myself tonight. I accidentally griefed Falkingham there for the lead. I was just trying to drive to the bottom, and it just shot him around on those old tires. Yeah, I think right before that last yellow, I think Tyler Popp may have had me. Me and him were working together to catch Gavin, because Gavin was the first of those guys that had pitted. I didn't know if Zeus was going to make it. Did he say if he was going to make it?
He did. He could make it.
He had saved enough.
Wow. Well, either way, I think, assuming Zeus didn't make it, I think me and Pop would have caught Gavin, and then I think Pop was going to win that race. He had it figured out. I may have led a lot of that middle part, but he had me. I could tell in the mirror.
I know like 30-ish laps into that run, maybe 35. That first run where everybody started slipping. Was it as chaotic out there as it was up here? Because there was so much going on. We were trying to keep track of who hadn't pitted and who had. And I mean, was it like a switch kind of flip for you guys and everybody started struggling with it? Or was it just kind of like slowly onslaught?
It was like, the first 5 laps were sketchy because it was almost like the hot pressures were helping the car sit. So like the restarts, if you probably saw it several times, the second lane just couldn't go because, you see under yellow, the rubber gets peeled off in the second lane or wherever the field's running. So for some reason, second lane would get peeled off and it was kind of just bald all night, but the bottom was all rubbered up. So on those restarts, it was like someone missed a shift every time when we got to turn 1 because the leader of the top just couldn't throttle down. It happened to me several times. Just fronts plowing, and the moment you try to turn the wheel and gas it, it'll whip around on you. So I don't know. It was crazy, and it was hard for me to keep track of like who had slid and who hadn't. Who had pitted. Just like you said, it was just crazy, and I'm sure it was super entertaining to watch back.
It was.
Oh, we were lost. I mean, like David would say that somebody spun, and then I'd have somebody, and then there was just so much going on that I was surprised. There were 4 instances in that run that probably could have brought out a yellow. And the last incident that iRacing threw the yellow for was something that we'd seen 7 times and hadn't brought a single one out. So we were definitely confused up here, to say the least. But before we let you go, obviously I know you were one spot away from the win, and I think honestly, if you might have had one more lap, you would have put up a good fight. I saw you put yourself on the wall there trying to get to him. Is there anybody you want to shout out before we get you out of here?
Yeah, tonight my other primary, Drink Machine Works on the car, Track Racing Simulation, Channel 199 Sim Racing, Racecraft Academy. Shout out my teammates tonight. I know Garrison ran well. Paul got a good finish. P5, look at Paul. How about that? Gavin Hibbs and John Cutler, Josh Chin. Josh Chin had a rough night too. You guys for putting this on, or the broadcast on. I'm sure, like I said, it'll be a good watch back. Chad and his admin team, the race may have been better because Chad wrecked tonight. Who knows? We'll see about that. But I had a fun night, and I hope y'all do too.
All right, buddy. I know we definitely did.
Yep. I'll see y'all.
All right, buddy. That was Blake Reynolds, your second place finisher, and I believe David is going to stand by with our race winner.
If I can get him. Ryan Borges, it's David in the booth. First of all, congratulations on your first Belly Up Sports Cup Series win, man. Congrats. I think it's a big redemption story when it comes to how you got here, because this is your first Cup Series race back since infamous Iowa, as it were. How does it feel to grab your first win?
It feels a lot better than being stuck in the cornfields the last 4 weeks or so. No, it's pretty cool to get my first Cup win, especially after what happened at Iowa. I'll maintain that it was a complete accident, but it was a stupid mistake on my part to even think about backing up in that situation. So I had to take the 3 weeks off. I understood why they made the call and came back. And honestly, I should have prepared a little more in the 3 weeks I had. I only put in a little practice today before the race, but it seemed pretty comfortable with the setup, except a couple times I almost wrecked, but it seemed like everyone was having that issue. But thought my race was done there when I think about 60, 70 laps to go. The 67 got loose off of 4 and kind of swept me up in it and came in and took tires and was able to stay out long there to the end. I was going to have to pit with about 2 to go, but thank you to Corey for bringing out the caution with about 5 to go. I was able to come in, put 4 tires on it, and had my teammate stay out. It was not coordinated, but it worked out well because I was able to use him and him to pick the 95 and me to go to the top, and worked out perfectly. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, take me through that last restart. But you kind of did that. What was it, going to take? Obviously, it's such a big lead. Did you know that you weren't going to have any real competition, even if some of those guys took 2 tires? I think the 95 took 2 tires. But yeah, you just had such a big lead. You felt comfortable getting those 4 tires and getting through. I think Ty caught that you slid through the box. I'll call it nerves when it comes to ripping through that final stop, because it worked out so perfectly for you.
Yes, there was nerves. Coming through 2 on the last lap, I was starting to get not super shaky, but I was I'm nervous. I got to hit this turn 3 and 4, because I saw Blake in the relative and in the mirror, and I was like, he's going to try and make a move. But luckily, I just cleared my teammate before 3 and was able to shut off the bottom. But no, luckily I had that large gap there coming to pit road. Otherwise, that would have been one way to ruin it. And I didn't get the greatest of jumps on the restart. So I don't know, just everything kind of broke my way, it was pretty cool. Just with when I took tires and was able to go long in the long run and the caution coming out and just the way the lines fell there on that restart, it was just my day. So that was cool. It was exciting.
Yeah, and obviously the issues prior, spending the time in the cornfields has kind of removed you from the points situation, but you should still be well above the charter line. So does this kind of give you some momentum into these chase races, and then kind of into next season where you can continue to run at the front of the field and capture more of these wins in this series?
I hope so. I feel like I'm decently close to those top few guys. It's just hard. Like Blake, you got Blake, Daniel. Those 2 are I'm not gonna. I'm shortchanging a few other guys, but some of them are just so talented. You got to be completely on your game to even give them a run for their money. But no, I think just being close there and being able to run up in the top 5 a lot definitely puts you in position to steal some of those wins for sure. So yeah, this will hopefully give me some momentum going into the rest of the season, and hopefully into next year be able to run a full point schedule without any incidents.
Gotcha. And any shout outs for us here before we send you off tonight to celebrate the win?
Yeah, just definitely got to really thank my Shift Esports team for having my back, especially the last few weeks or so. But they always have my back, so I appreciate all those guys. Seth Rawls Designs for making this cool little green and white paint scheme with no sponsor on it, but resembles my go-kart race in real life, so that was cool. Got to thank the Elite Racing League for putting on this fun series. Also got to thank you guys up in the booth for all these broadcasts. I go back and watch most of them. I didn't really want to go back and watch the last Cup race I was in, but I'll sure go back and watch this one. But yeah, just got to thank everyone involved. It's a lot of fun to be a part of.
We appreciate it, Ryan. Congrats on the win. Be sure to send the shot video and whatnot so you can get in quick shifts and get the love for it. But really exciting for sure. And it's always good to see a new winner in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. So have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Actually, don't know if he's 21. If he's not 21, don't do it. But anyway, that said, Ty, awesome first race. Glad to have you in the booth. Hopefully you're back behind the wheel and this breaks the string of rough luck for you. But I had a great time tonight.
Yeah, no, I think this is probably, I wouldn't say what I was expecting, but what I was looking for if there was a first race for me to do in the booth. Zach, I'm not glad that it was under these circumstances, but I hope you feel better. But you picked a good one to hand over to me because I had a blast. I definitely would not have been happy if I was in the car. I would have sucked. I would have been dead 30 laps into the race probably. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting back into the car at Atlanta and seeing what we can do. And I know it's going to be just as much of a show as this one was.
Yeah, it should be fun. Also want to clear up one thing. We did get the info from our numbers guy, Zach Evans, who claims to not like math, but knows a lot about it. Grabbed that Ranger Rucker's first top 10 since 2024A. 2 years, 5 elite seasons. Rucker picks up a top 10. Awesome for him. Awesome for a bunch of these guys. And join us back next week at Atlanta. We also have the Sunday Truck Series. Batflip Podcast 2003 series starts up next week as well. Be sure to check those out. Monday series as well. And for all of us at the Elite Racing Network, that was the Lone Star State 250 for the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. We'll catch you next week.